Hello everyone, welcome on in. We have a game, we have the sound. I think we're ready to go. The plan for today, we will be talking about a game I quite like and you might have heard of. It's called Morrowind. And because I've been told I talk too much, I like to have guests who can do the talking for me while I sip my coffee in my amazing Morrowind mug. And the guest today is none other than Melchior, who I will let you listen to in a second. All right, Melchior, you can talk. You're free.
Hey, thanks for having me on today. Yeah, it should be fun to take a look at some mods here, and appreciate you having me.
Pleasure. It is a pleasure. Before we dive into the game and the mod, can you guys tell me how it is with the audio? If I need to make Melchior a little louder, me a little quieter, possibly. Can you tell me, guys, how's the audio for you? You can hear him perfectly. Yeah, very good. Just perfect. Let's just dive in then. I have created a character and I tried to be smart with the name. Can you see how I tried? Emphasis on the try. I am Ort Aramis Agat Brethren. It means nothing. But we have OAAB. That's
There
me.
we go.
That is me trying to be smart. Yeah, I shouldn't do that. So we'll be taking a look mostly, I believe, at OAAB, Grazelands, Telmora, and all of that, because it's such a massive mod that there's lots to do. But I've installed a number of your mods, Melchior, so if you see something, just shout, "Oh, that's mine," and tell us about it. Okay.
Okay,
There's
sounds
so
good.
many mods, it's kind of hard to remember all of them. So this is where you say that's mine, but it's kind of hard to miss.
Right.
You want
Yeah,
to
I
tell
think
us
I'm
about
getting.
those trees?
Okay. Yeah, sorry, I'm getting a little
bit
bit
of a
of
delay.
latency on my side. It's still loading. Are we in the? Oh wait, I see now. Okay, we're in the Bitter Coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know these trees have gotten some mixed feedback. I know for a lot of people, I think that a lot of people like the roots on them, but they're obviously gigantic, right? So when I first made them, honestly, it was more just for fun, kind of an experiment on making some gigantic trees. I think I think some people over at Project Tamriel have shown some interest in actually using them in Valenwood, where maybe they fit a little bit better as some giant trees over there. But yeah, I think they're just pretty fun to see in the area. Obviously, if people who have played Tel Vos by me have seen that I tend to like putting really tall things in the game. So I don't know. They're at least fun to look at.
They're really, really great special. Obviously, Dark guy was very fond of the verticality of it all.
Right.
I am like many people, I really do like the roots, especially when you're walking under them, and yeah, that's very, very, very nice. I don't know if you can see it yet. I also have the saplings installed,
Oh
which is
yes.
a
Yep.
more
Yep.
recent mod, I think.
It is, yeah. So that was one of those mods where actually I think that one was inspired by Valheim, which I haven't spent a lot of time playing Valheim, but the brief amount of time I was in there, I was just walking around in their forests and saw there's saplings on the ground and stuff, and it just made me stop and think about how there's none of that in Morrowind. It just doesn't feel very natural. So I decided to of course, I didn't just stop at the Bitter Coast. I decided to go around to all the regions and try to make saplings that fit in there. So I think it's pretty cool. Maybe in the future it'll have some sort of integration with Ashfall or something where we can cut them down or something like that. I've talked to Merlord about
I'd
it a little
imagine
bit,
that would be quite simple because it's a matter of adding the ID. He already has all the vanilla bushes and the bigger roots, that sort of things. So,
yeah, I think the issue was mostly just like and maybe this is more on my side that I hadn't gotten over yet. I think it was just I don't even know if there's a way to make it so you get less wood from a sapling versus a full tree. So you get like a whole bunch of wood from this little sapling or whatever. But yeah, you're right. It wouldn't be hard to. He's already got his interops set up and stuff like that, so it wouldn't be too hard to get it set up. But
And frankly, the way it is already right now with the tree, how much wood you get from it, it depends entirely on how long you're willing to stand in front of it.
okay.
Axing.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't spent too much time playing Ashfall myself, so I wasn't sure. I know. I spent so much time,
You're lucky. You're
modding.
lucky. It's actually nighttime in New Zealand, and Merlord will never hear of this chat. Don't tell Merlord. He'll be hot.
A little bit inspired by that. I wanted to create a canopy over the tree or over the region. So I actually used this in combination with Validy's mod when I first made it. So I don't know what draws me to the Bitter Coast, but like, because obviously I've got this mod and I've got Mystify and the saplings that modify it, and I've also been working on like a Fireflies mod, to add some fireflies to the region. I don't know, it's a fun region to experiment with and add, environmental effects to.
And there's something about the Bitter Coast, like even after all these years, I can't help it. I get off the boat and I turn around and I just look at it and I go, because it's just so pretty. It's just so pretty. We're going to wait for nighttime so we can see the mist, and then we can move on and explore the other regions. My rest has been interrupted. Okay, it is nighttime. And we can see the mist right there. It's very subtle.
Right. Yeah, I didn't want it to stick out too much, but I think it adds a pretty nice effect.
Definitely. Really adds to the atmosphere, for sure.
Yeah, hopefully...
Yep, go ahead, sorry.
I was just gonna mention, hopefully I'll be able to finish up that Fireflies mod I was working on, so the nights will be even cooler in the Bitter Coast and maybe other regions too. But that one, I think I was mostly just having some issues with performance. When you start talking about adding a whole bunch of visual effects like that around the place, the Bitter Coast is already pretty expensive from a performance standpoint, so I was trying to optimize it a little bit.
Yeah, because at some point we hit the memory limit pretty darn quick, even though the Lua mods make it so that what we would do with Morrowind scripting doesn't take as much memory. It does add up, for sure.
Right.
But it's so pretty. Personally, I'd rather have to restart my game every couple of hours because I know I'm getting close to the memory limit rather than not have all the eye candy I've got. So
right.
I was gonna say something, yes, about the trees, because I like the sapling mod. I've installed it here, but I didn't put it on my permadeath list because, well, it's already heavy and I hit the memory limit very quickly and my FPS go down the drain and all that. So I did not install it because even a couple of FPS is very precious.
Yep.
But I was wondering, would it be possible, I'm pretty sure it would be, but I don't know if it would be practical or even good, to have sort of a tree randomizer. So instead of adding trees and adding saplings, or maybe we can add some, but a given tree would either be Bitter Coast tree 1, 2, 3, even, with different models, so they work together, or it could be a sapling, or, so the landscape would effectively change every time you play the game.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, something like that from a technical standpoint, we could do that today. Definitely best done with, MWSC rather than trying to do something crazy in Morrowind script. But yeah, it could be. I guess, obviously, the challenge with trees and swapping them out is always if, particularly mods and stuff, where they might, interact with the tree closely and then you swap the model out. I think the biggest issue would probably be the Bitter Coast, where you've got the shelf fungus that's right on the trees. Essentially, I know a lot of tree replacers there have issues
True.
with that. But yeah, I mean, that could definitely be interesting. I know that I know Wally was working on an Acadian Isles mod to try to make the forests look more natural and denser as well. And I love those kinds of mods, kind of like Valides, right? It's just that obviously as soon as you start adding more trees, you start impacting your FPS. So it's always a trade-off.
Yeah, it's choices. Here's my sapling. It definitely is a matter of choices, yeah.
Yeah, with the sapling mod, actually, I think my favorite region is probably the Azura's coast, where we've got the little mushrooms and stuff that I added over there. The other regions are fine; I like them, but I really like the mushrooms. I feel like because that region's already so barren over there, and you don't even your grass mods don't really cover a lot of areas in the on Azura's coast or the Sheogarad region, but I think having the little mushrooms on the ground really helps add some detail there.
It's true, like in the Azura's coast, of course I would teleport to a cell. A cell in the water.
Yeah, actually, another interesting thing about the saplings mod is Greatness 7 actually helped me out quite a bit with it, because I used the old Morrowind mesh generator to place those just like with grass. Although it'd be great to have a new tool for that, because that one's pretty limited. But I did finally manage to get it to generate. But the issue is it places all the saplings normal to the ground, and so you've got saplings that are sticking out at like 45-degree angle from the ground, which looks really weird. So Greatness actually wrote a script for me that would kind of right the trees a little bit so they'd be pointing up and look a lot more natural. So that was a huge help to me, as opposed to, because before I was like manually going through and rotating them all to point upwards, and there's like 1,000 or more saplings per region. So yeah, that helped quite a bit. And actually, I just remembered, so speaking of there being thousands of them, it obviously took a while to do quality control on those, because they kept generating under rocks and stuff like that. So Denina actually helped me out. I think it was with the West Gash region. I had like a couple different plugins there, and so she took half of them and I took the other half. So that was a big help, because a lot of this mod, honestly, the time spent on it, I spent way less making the models than I did actually spending time in the yes, going and cleaning them up.
All right, daytime. Oh, look! It is so darn cute. Denina actually says there were 12,000 trees. She counted each of them one by one. You should see her wall, there's less bars, and the fifth one is crossed. But I can imagine it was a massive endeavor. They're so adorable.
It was pretty mind-numbing.
I must say, I really love the mushrooms. When Ramiros published the group of Benabi with all the little mushrooms, I loved it. And then his ground cover with all the little mushrooms. I love the mushrooms.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think the best thing about Ramirez's ground cover mod is that it's not just grass. It's got like the rocks and the West Gash or whatever, and then the mushrooms and everything. It definitely really helps make things look a lot more detailed.
This is so pretty. I don't even have shaders enabled because I didn't want to break my game. But even just like that, it's pretty. All right. Shall we move to the Grazeland?
Sure.
Okay. I do love those mushrooms. Okay, moving on. But there are always spots like that where I would always just stop and admire, even after all this time. Where do we want to go? I guess Vos would be a good starting place.
Yeah, it probably is.
All right. Before we look at stuff, we need a little bit of a history lesson. The origins of OAAB, Chapter 1.
Oh man. Um, let's see. So OAAB, yeah, stands for Avashin Blight, and it started off with slightly different goals than it has now. It was back when we were still on the Bedsoft forums. It's always kind of been my desire to, overhaul the world, just to be, a more dangerous and interesting place. I think it's originally it was a little bit more focused on the gameplay side of things, and like making blight dangerous and stuff like that. Adding like blighted plants and that sort of thing, and now it's shifted a fair amount more to be, more about, changing the, not necessarily changing, but adding on to the design of the game and making it more, immersive and believable and that sort of thing. So yeah, originally, it was a solo project where I was just kind of dabbling in, a few different areas. It didn't really have, I really didn't release too much until I released that armor preview on the Nexus, where it's
Remember,
really just a bunch of,
with
yeah,
the
it was a
blue
bunch of
bug
like,
and the green bug mostly.
yes, yeah, basically a bunch of kit bashed armor that I put together. I still like them, but yeah, so that lived out there for a while, and then um, I kind of changed gears. I don't remember when the first release of OAAB data was. Maybe it was last year. I honestly don't even remember
Yeah, I
now.
don't
But
think it's that old. Like, I mean, now it seems
no,
that there isn't a mod that is published that doesn't use the assets, but it's not
right?
that
Because I
old, no.
no, it's not. I don't remember if it was last year or if it was the year before, but pretty recently, it OAB had kind of sat on the back burner for a while, and then um, as I was releasing mods, it started to get kind of painful where I noticed my mods were, like sharing assets, but I'd have to, just upload the same asset to different mods. Like, my waterfalls, they showed up in like Liathdonia and my Mage Robes mod, and a few different cave assets and stuff like that. And I realized that it would be useful to kind of have those all in a single place where, I wouldn't have to, I could just update them one time, and I wouldn't need to keep updating them every time, I released a mod and go back and update every single mod that asset was used in. Right. And so then I started, debating. Actually, I've been debating for a little while before I released it, obviously, kind of combining everything together. And then, yeah, now it's kind of crowdsourced, right? Other people were interested in participating, so a lot of people have been contributing to a OAB now, and it's pretty cool. There's a few other mods. I know Ramiros has his Tombs and
Tombs.
Towers mod. Yep, that's
The
using
Ashen Divide as
OAB.
well, that he's redone
Yes.
once.
Yep.
And I just checked, it's 1 year almost exactly. You first
Okay.
uploaded it the 16th of November 2020.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So
Yeah, and
are you
so,
planning something for the first anniversary?
oh man, I don't know. I have honestly, I now I've been kind of going back and updating a few of my mods, so I don't have quite as many new resources put together for another update right at the moment. But the few things we have been working on, I was actually kind of thinking about making the next update like kind of sermons of Vivek themed. We've got like the land drag, that Lamb Shark had created a new head for that one, the model that Elaster had created. So we've got that, and um, gosh, I think we got a couple other things that we were putting together for the next update. So I don't know. I honestly wasn't even thinking about the anniversary, but we'll see. Maybe.
Sorry, I will never miss an opportunity to ask for more content.
Yeah,
You should
yeah.
have
It's
been
been kind of
warned. You should have been warned. Um,
right, right.
we've been looking a little bit around Vos and Tel Vos. There's the terraces for the farming, and there's also those hills, those rocky hillsides that are
Yeah.
absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, those were actually they were one of the earlier things that I kind of reverse engineered from looking at some Skyrim cliff assets in Nifscope,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of saw some techniques they were using for, you know, blending textures together and that sort of thing. So I went back and tried to update. We had some, I think the base meshes are, or at least the shapes of them rather, are kind of based on some of those Oblivion rock resources that have been converted to be used in Morrowind for a while. I forget exactly who the author was on that, but what was his name? I don't remember. I think it started with an S. But anyway, so they were kind of based on that, and then I went back and, you know, made some updates to them. I'd like to get some more variety of those, but they were a bit time consuming to make each of them, so I just haven't gotten around to it.
Well, we have time until 2090.
Right.
Plenty,
Yes.
plenty of time.
Right. Yeah, and I try not to go overkill with placing them everywhere around Voss, but they look so cool that, you know, it's just kind of tempting just to, you know, slap them down there. So, because I like to, with this mod, one of the things I was trying to do was not, I didn't want to drastically change the landscape, so I actually haven't I haven't touched the landscape model at all. You know, mostly just put landscape meshes down on top of it. But
Mm-hmm.
one of the coolest things about those cliff meshes, and this is another thing Greatness helped me with, is that they actually do have MGE grass generated on top of them, which
Yeah,
is a huge thing to help
yeah.
them blend into the landscape a lot better. And I did not have to manually place all of those. So Greatness actually developed a script for Blender where I was actually able to just paint those meshes, or paint the grass onto the cliff meshes directly, and then generate a grass plugin from that. So yeah, I think that's one of the best things about it, to help
Very
them
neat.
blend into the landscape. Yeah.
Mm, definitely. You've mentioned Greatness 7 quite a few times, because it's like the wizard who's pulling the strings. Like, he doesn't publish mods himself, but he takes part in all the very cool mods. Like, he's helped one way or another. You've also mentioned
Oh yeah.
Remiros. Can you give a little shout out to the people who have been contributing to OAAB?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, and like you said, Greatness tends to be kind of behind the scenes. I think he's probably in the credits of almost every single one of my mods. It seems like he's either helping me with, you know, Morrowind script if I bug him about it enough, or he's writing little, you know, pieces of code for me, or just in general, you know, his work on the NIF plugin for Blender. I mean, I use that with almost every mod I make now, right? So yeah, so he's definitely been a great help. And yeah, I think after me, I think Ramiros is probably one of the biggest contributors to the OAAB data. So it seems like every release he's always slipping in some little goodies that we get to include in there. So yeah, a lot of weapons and little miscellaneous pieces. A lot of the six house assets are made by him. So yeah, it's I think that's one of the coolest things, is just, you know, being able to, you know, get contributions from people. You know, we've got, I know you interviewed R0 here a couple weeks ago. You know, he's contributed a lot as well, and I think we've probably got maybe close to a dozen, maybe a little less, people on the team now. So yeah, we've got getting contributions from everybody. You know, we have discussions about assets that get added and that sort of thing. So it's pretty fun.
It is a huge project, and one of the things that I really like is, I think together with OAB data and TR data, we've got loads of mods that may seem quite simple overhauls, but simply because it would be a shop that is overhauled using OAB assets and TR assets, and like the place looks beautiful. It looks brand new, but it looks vanilla at the same time. Obviously, the biggest example of that would be Beautiful Cities of Morrowind. But not just. Like
Right.
we got a lot of places, indoors, outdoors, that get their little overhaul, and I think really that OAAB has inspired a lot of modders. Like this, there's a new release. Let's see what new Lego pieces we have and what we can do with them. It's like
Right.
Christmas.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that a little bit. And the first one that comes to mind, I know, as soon as I had started working on that shipwreck set that I think came out in one of the latest releases, I know Corsair started working on an overhaul of all the shipwrecks in the game, which is pretty awesome. And that's exactly the type of thing, it's cool because it's exactly the type of thing that I like to see, right? Because then I get to just make some neat assets, and then other people get to make the mods for me, so I don't have to I don't have to spend the time making those, right? So I just wish someone would go and do that with the Kwama assets that I made now, because that's a huge undertaking. Go overhaul all the egg
To do
mines in
all
the
the
game.
mines.
So
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I don't know how many there are, but there's a lot of egg mines in the game.
Hang on. There should be a mine over there. We can take a look at that, because
Oh yeah.
those assets are just crazy. And what I
Yeah, I
like,
think I
sorry,
did.
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to compliment you again, if you can take it. What I really like about a lot of your assets, or OAB in general, things like this is not OAB actually, but the mist, the kegs, those little things, the lava, the Kwama mine, it just brings life to the game. Because it's pretty
Yeah.
static otherwise. I mean, you have NPCs that walk awkwardly, you have creatures that want to attack you. But apart from that, there isn't much going on.
Right. Yeah, I agree. And honestly, that's what inspired quite a few of my mods, is that exactly like you said, the game just can sometimes feel very static. And so I like adding like moving parts and visual effects that kind of make it feel more dynamic. Like, because I've made a couple visual effects mods, like the keg drip, or Mystify and stuff like that. But then I try to bring that into the OAB stuff that we do too. Like in the Kwama mines, you've got those weird Kwama foragers that are hanging from the ceiling that can I guess puke on you if you walk
Lovely.
underneath
You're
them.
selling
But
it. You're selling it.
so I think you'd actually catch a disease if you do that. So you want to avoid those things if you see them on the ceiling. But then you've got the exploding Kwama eggs. Now those ones I didn't make up. Those were from the concept art from Michael Kirkbride. So yeah, so you got to be careful for watch out for the shrieking Kwama eggs in mines now if you get too close to them.
Okay, there's a cocoon. You mentioned the concept art. Is that a big inspiration for you?
I definitely try to whenever things are applicable. I wouldn't say I've gone through. It's not like we've got every single bit of concept art in OAB. And obviously sometimes we need things that aren't in the concept art, but absolutely, I love going back to the concept art, and not just the stuff from the official art book, but also, the stuff that, especially Michael Kirkbride, was kind of drafted up and shared with the community over the years as well. I think the shrieking Kwama eggs, I think those are not in the art book. I think those are some other things that Michael had released. But yeah, I know like more recently, in one of the latest updates, whenever I did the weapon wielding dwarven specters, I actually modeled their shield, their sword, and their hammer off of the concept art that we've got for the Dwemer in the art book. So absolutely, where we can, I love getting inspiration from the concept art.
Good, but you won't reject an idea because it's not in line with the concept art either.
Right. Yeah, but it's the rule of cool, so
Exactly.
But that's one of the nice things about Discord is that it's a good place for the community, since we don't have the forum anymore, to kind of talk
Do you
about
know,
what's.
technically we do.
You talking about the new
Yeah,
Bethesda.net forum or
yeah, yeah,
whatever?
yeah,
Yeah, I tried to join that when it first came out. Just, I don't know, maybe I'm just set in my ways or whatever. It just didn't feel the same. The forum was, I don't know, it just didn't catch my attention. I tried to like stay on Fliggerty for a while after Bedsoft shut down, but unfortunately that site is not very active either. So
yeah. I'm looking at the blighted Kwama egg sacs. They,
yes.
I mean, maybe I have not installed it actually because I installed. But anyway, they don't get harvested automatically. I don't know if there's a compatibility that I have not installed with graphic herbalism.
I think I don't. Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of the exploding Kwama eggs. That's a good point. I'll have to make note of that. I might have added the graphic herbalism to it, but maybe I did it wrong or something. I don't remember on the blighted eggs.
It
I
could
know that
be
I missed it on a
I've
couple.
installed, the latest OAAB, but I installed the basic version. I didn't log through all the folders. Maybe there's already something and I didn't pay
No,
attention.
yeah, if it's not doing it, it probably doesn't have it yet because I think that just happens automatically on most of the meshes. So yeah, that's a good point. I know I had to add support for that recently on something else. I forget what it was.
You
Oh, I think right around where you're at, there might be like a secret hole down somewhere. But
one of these?
I know
You-
the nice thing about doing open caves like this that don't use a vanilla tile set is that it's so much easier to like add little secret passages and that sort of thing. Then it's funny as when you're so used to when you get familiar with the vanilla cave set. You know which room you're walking into, and you know to look for a little pocket up above your head or below your feet and that
Mhm.
sort of thing. So that's as soon as you go to this sort of thing with the open caves, players don't know what to expect, right? They don't know where the hole in the wall is going to be.
Yeah, that's but like the very first cave in Sadanin and Rastus, I think.
Yes.
It took me years to realize you come in, you kill the first Dunmer girl, you go down the stairs, there's the mage, you continue, there's the one throwing the kiting stars. And for me, that was it. I didn't see that little nuke, the passage that goes all around underwater. I discovered that much later, and I even thought it was
Right.
modded. For me, it was modded, but no,
Right.
it was there all along.
Yeah, I know. I definitely did not discover that one right away either. That was hidden away very well by Bethesda, I think. So good job to them.
I'm in a dark tunnel. I don't think I've seen the exploding egg. Like I'm both keen to find them, but I'm a little anxious as well.
I think which let's see, I'm trying to with this mine. Oh, is this okay, so this is what is
Mudan
this is the
Mul
one.
egg
Yeah, the one
mine.
starts with an. Yeah, that's right. The one starts with an M. Right. I don't remember. I thought there was an exploding egg right before you go into this tunnel here, but
Let's
I don't
go
remember where I
back through
stuck
the
them. It's
dark tunnel. Those
right.
tunnels are really gross. I've just been playing Diablo 2 again, the old version, and I went through the maggot lair, and I'm getting some maggot vibes.
Nice. Yeah, that was one of the biggest things for my inspiration for well, not directly from Diablo, but one of my biggest inspirations for making this was just that it felt so odd to me whenever I would go into Kwama mines and they would just look like a regular cave. It just seemed like they needed something more organic to them with holes in the wall and that sort of thing, so they would feel like they were lived in by that insectoid species, right? It felt like they needed something more organic to them. So it's something I've been wanting to make for a long time, and I was kind of waiting around to see if anyone else would ever do it, and no one did. So, I just one day decided I was gonna make it.
Best way. Sip is saying that I had an egg explode behind my back. I thought I heard it too, actually. So hopefully we'll
Oh,
find
I think
another
in
one.
that room, through the tunnel, I think there's another exploding egg, like maybe along the left wall or something like that.
Okay.
You can actually avoid them if you sneak. You can sneak up to them and grab the egg, and they won't explode on you.
Oh, well, worse. I hate it. Perfect. Oh, and this the blurb thingy that's throbbing next to it. Arrow would be proud. Is that like a brand new baby forager?
Yeah, again, like with the trying to make stuff more dynamic, I hid some. Oh, there you go. There's one exploding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the I think the explosion effect looks really good. That was actually made by Crupolio. So he did the particle effects for the explosion, and I think it turned out really well. You know, you got that kind of gross. You got that blood and acid that kind of sprays when you walk up to it. So very well done.
Perfect. It's mesmerizing and disgusting in the best possible way.
Right.
I want to cheat myself. The Ring of Azura, so we can see all the beauty.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, and making this Kwama set was interesting
Let's see what
because
Kwama
you know
has.
started having discussions about the life cycle of the Kwama and stuff like that. So that's why you'll see things like there's the scrib cocoons that are kind of hidden on the or not hidden, but hanging on the wall and that sort of thing as they're metamorphosing into. I think we decided that they could like either metamorph into like Kwama foragers or the workers essentially. So there's these new Kwama grubbers, I call them, that are like newly hatched, essentially like young versions of the workers. And then um, there's the husks. You'll see the Kwama husks
Yeah,
that are
I did
like the
find one.
molted. Yeah, so those are like the molted forms of the Kwama workers, essentially. So yeah, it was kind of fun, kind of talking about, the people on Discord, helped out with discussing, what we thought would be an interesting way to take for the life cycle. So I think there might be a little bit of dialogue. So like I know in OAAB we added an egg miner class, and I think they've got some new dialogue to talk about the life cycle. I think there's a little bit of that in there. This particular mine you're in, it's blighted right now, so there's no workers in here. You can do a in the vanilla game. There's a quest to cure the Kwama Queen in
Mm-hmm.
here, and so normally when you complete that quest, it just nothing really happens afterwards. I made it so that now if you complete the quest to cure the queen, the mine actually opens up again. So you'll get some egg miners and stuff in there, and they'll start working it.
Yeah, that's what we need. Like, personally, I need to see that, first of all, I'm not the only person doing something in this world.
Right.
And people have a life that is independent of me. But also, if I do something, then I want people to notice, and I want those things to change. I'm in the Queen's lair. It looks, like.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a big room. There's
But I'm wondering, is the queen much bigger too? Because the Kwama queen always creeps me out.
I don't think I scaled her up. Yeah,
Oh, there
she's
she
she's
is.
kind of down there by herself. Yep.
Mm,
Yeah, and this
who's
cave,
that?
I think so. In the trying to remember if this is where I linked it up. I think in the in the vanilla game, so in the Tel Vos dungeon, there's like some dialogue about how creatures are somehow getting into the dungeon from another exterior entrance or something like that. So I
Mm-hmm.
actually took that and I believe in this room there's another there's another exit way out of this room, and I think that actually links into the Tel Vos dungeon to kind of, that was my explanation for, essentially stuff was able to get in through the Kwama colony into there. So yeah, it's interesting to, whenever I did this mod, I basically did all the research, read into every little bit of every single thing that there was to say about, Tel Vos or the surrounding areas and stuff, and kind of compiled all of it to, come up with ideas for how to link things together and update stuff.
Yeah, that's another big thing for me, is like things being consistent. So I've always had a problem if a mod adds anything, an ingredient, a bottle of booze or something, and that ingredient, unless there's a story behind it, but that thing only exists in that cell, and I'm like, well, no, that just doesn't work. So the fact that you've made such an effort to have everything work together in a coherent way is great. Basically great.
Yeah.
Okay. I found a corpse of somebody. I'm guessing he got puked on a little too often.
Yeah, I think he was one of the old miners that got killed by the angry, blighted Kwama in here. So this was made. Actually, you know what? This was made before I made that really latest OAAB release with the corpses. But I think I probably would have left this guy as a skeleton anyway. I think it kind of makes sense that he got picked clean or something. So I think it works. But he actually disappears. He or she. I guess I didn't really think about that, but they disappear when you bring the mine back on. They kind of clear away the remains.
The leftovers.
So, right.
Oh, these look good. Don't attack me. I don't care. I have God mod. Yeah. Now I know how to detect those eggs. There we go. That's what we wanted. Ooh. Oh, and the sound is super gross. Amazing.
Yes.
And gorge, Kwama forager.
Yeah, so that was another thing that we made up
to them?
for this.
Oh.
Is that so? Basically, in the game, there is described that the Kwama foragers essentially go out and they're foragers, right? So they forage for food and that sort of thing. So what we came up with was that they essentially go out, they eat up a bunch of stuff, vegetation and little critters and stuff like that. And once they basically get just huge and bloated, and so they somehow make their way back, to the colony, and then essentially they kind of get strung up essentially, and then they dispense food for the colony essentially. So it's kind of gross, but I think it fits into the Morrowind style.
No, it's perfect. I wish I didn't know what they turn into, because it's really, really gross. And like if we shut up for a bit. Come on. Yeah, did you hear that? They have that squishy sound, that little sound.
Yes.
Details. I'm a little bit curious about this. It's new lichen from OAAB, but it's not harvestable.
No, not it's we might make I might make it harvestable in the future. For now it was mostly just eye candy, and there's like some hanging versions of it and stuff like that. I don't even remember exactly why I made it rather than just using the vanilla stuff, but it's good to have variety, right?
Ah, sure. Cute, yeah, the little grubber is almost cute for a Kwama.
Almost.
Yeah,
right.
It's a good boy. So what do the Kwama grubbers do?
They're pretty much useless at the moment. Mostly just I wanted to add them kind of as to span the gap between the scrib to the workers, essentially, because the scrib are described as being a larval stage of Kwama, right? So that's why I had them go from scrib to cocoon, and then based on the needs of the colony, they'll either pop out from there as a forager, or they'll pop out as a grubber essentially. And so the grubbers are the young versions that then grow up into the workers, and then they kind
They
of
are
molt
the angsty
periodically.
teenagers of the Kwama family.
Right.
That looks very cool. So yes, modders, there are still 31 mines just waiting for you with those amazing assets, and you can make a gorgeous Kwama mine.
Right. I'd love to see some more. I don't know if I know Tamriel Rebuilt took a few of the Kwama assets from here, not a lot of them, but they took a couple of them to use over there. But I don't think that I've seen any other Vardenfell based egg mines overhaul of anyone yet. But I think it's partly because it's kind of a daunting task, right? Because I built these completely, just pieced them together, right? There is no, tile set like the vanilla caves, right? You can't just snap them together, and you gotta build it all manually. So it's kind of a daunting task.
Yeah. I don't know if we got cut.
Yeah, I saw Stratify's comment. I think it was Stripes that was maybe working on the. I don't know if it was Belmore or mine. Maybe that's what it was. I know he was also working on a mine rail set that I'm still waiting on. I want to get that into OAAB, so hopefully Stripes finishes that one up soon. Yeah.
I stumbled into a acidic pool or something. Ooh, and there's Kwama poison cyst. Oh. Just the word cyst. I don't know why I'm picking it up, really.
Yeah, this was another thing where I kind of took a small thing and ran with it just because I thought it would be fun from an environmental standpoint. Because basically, the Kwama foragers spit acid at you, right? So I kind of just said, hey, Kwama have acid. Why not have some acid pools? Because I thought some big green pools of acid would look pretty cool in the egg mines and stuff like that. So I just... now we've got drippy acid dripping from the ceiling and pools of acid and that sort of thing. So I think it makes for some pretty cool looking units.
Definitely. Am I remembering or imagining or wishful thinking like some animated bits of Kwama coming out of those holes that we see on the walls?
You're right. Yep, you're right. I remember where this is in Mudan. I think in the room before this one, I think there is it's only on certain ones of them, right? It's not on all of them, but yeah, so there's like some Kwama foragers that'll kind of stick their heads out and make a noise and then slip back in, because I wanted to try to demonstrate how the little tunnels and stuff are used by the foragers to get around the colony, right? And there's areas of the colony that aren't necessarily accessible to the player, right? It's bigger than what you can see.
I got excited for a second. I thought I saw a forager coming out of one of those tunnels, but no, it was the Kwama warrior.
I think there's. I don't remember if it's. I think there's one on the exit from this room, the big tunnel, or maybe it's the entrance to this room from the other side of that tunnel you came down. I know there's one around here, but...
So that's the tunnel. Well, we're not gonna stand there forever, but guys, just so you know, if you go in this Kwama mine and you wait long enough, you'll see creatures crawling in and out of the walls. Which is cool. Yeah. Very, very cool. Is this the only mine in OAAB that got the treatment?
Actually, there's a second one. So this one is the one that was blighted near Tel Vos. There's also another egg mine that is just south of Voss. It's what is it? Denaralit egg mine, I think, and that one's actually worked by the residents of Voss. So that one's actually a little bit bigger than this one is. It's got a couple other secret passages and stuff, but...
So there's only 30 mines left to do.
Yeah, I covered two of them, so...
We can There! There it is, it's so cute, almost. Relatively speaking, for a Kwama. After everything we've seen, that's kind of cute, okay?
Right.
But like we should have a modding competition. So look guys, there's 30 mines. We can have up to 30 modders. You each make a mine, and the winner will see their work included in OAAB.
There we go.
Something like that. We'll have to think about it. Okay, well I'm glad I got the little Kwama forager coming in and out. Very cool. Definitely looks like the... Yeah, Danina has a good idea. Get Sealoff on that.
Right.
He'll get the verticality, he'll make use of the assets.
Yeah, Sealoff is totally embraced the open cave stuff. So yeah, his latest mods have been excellent. So it'd be pretty cool to see a Sealoff egg mine.
Yeah. Well, you know what, chat? All of us individually, but not the same day, we should PM him and say, hey, have you thought about making a Kwama mine using OAAB asset? And then if enough people, not on the same day, send him the same message, he's gonna go, maybe I should. It's just like being different. It's just a suggestion. But yeah, I think he would do something really quite amazing. Yeah, there's a hole I'm going in. Oh god.
Yes, all the little secrets you can hide in here.
What creature died in here? Ooh. I discovered a secret.
Yes.
What sort of creature would that be though? With that massive claw. Like a clanfear? A prehistorical clanfear? Aww.
Yeah, could be. This is one of those ones I'm just kind of leaving it up to people's imagination. So.
Growl, maybe. Maybe. There's only one left in Solstheim, but before that, they used to roam the land until the Kwama started spitting on them. This is just what happened. With more of the... That is very cool. Now, I completely cheated. You would have to be levitating to get through that.
Yes, and so actually that's an interesting point. So yeah, actually there's more of that in the there's even more of that in the other egg mine where there's like pitfalls and stuff like that. So I actually, while I was making this mod, I was actually using a development version of Vitastic's climbing mod. So I wasn't levitating around, but I was climbing out of these holes and stuff like that. So in the other egg mine, there's actually some like climbing picks that got like ropes hanging from them and stuff to kind of simulate how the egg miners kind of traverse some of the harder to reach areas of the egg mine. So yeah, I was actually play tested with his mantling climbing mod. So I definitely recommend that in conjunction with this, because not just the egg mines, but also the tower of Tel Vos actually has, if you get up close to it, it's got some bricks sticking out the side of it that can be used to climb up the whole tower, right? So I think they pair pretty well together.
Yeah, so the mod that Melchior is talking about is a Mantle of Ascension? Mantle of Ascension, which lets you climb. Basically, it lets you grab onto something and climb, like as long as you can reach it and there's room above it, then you can climb. So didn't you have a video actually of you climbing the Tower of Tel Vos?
I think that was Vitastic. He actually tested his mod. I think it was his. Yeah, and I think I put it. Yeah, I might have put it on my mod page, but yeah. So he actually climbed to the. I might have done it too, but either way, one of us. I climbed to the top of the tower using it, so it works. You can do it.
Proper parkour,
pretty cool.
in fact, like proper parkour. It's very cool.
Right.
Also, I have discovered that even if you are in God mod, if you eat Kwama poison, you just die. That's it. That's it for you guys. I did that for you. Are they scripted or? Oh, how many hit points do I have? I don't know. Anyway, don't eat Kwama poison, I guess is the moral of the story.
Right, sounds like good advice. Yeah, I think the egg miners wear like masks and gloves to try to keep from getting exposed to the poison in there.
Yeah, that sounds like a very, very good idea. I'm waiting for the Kwama to come out. Godmount doesn't protect you from things you eat or drink. I don't usually eat poison. I've been known to eat soap when I was really desperate. But that's it. That was it. Okay. I really do hope that some modders will be motivated to do something with that, because it really brings the mine to life.
Yeah, I would definitely be in full support of that. Less work for me too, right? So.
Okay, right. So we are near Tel Vos. What do you want us to take a look at? I'll make it day again.
Oh man. Let's see. Yeah, the interesting thing about Tel Vos is that there's a lot of secrets hidden in there. So if you remember from the vanilla game, people describe it as, being a very odd place, and there's already some hidden passages and stuff like that in the vanilla game. So I kind of tried to capitalize that a little bit. But I guess maybe before we looked at Voss, we could probably Tel Vos, we could probably take a look at Voss itself. So Voss is, an old Velothi farming village. So what I really try to do there, because if you remember from the vanilla game, there's very little to show that it's a farming village, right? They don't have any fields or anything like that. I guess maybe they just wandered into the Grazelands and started harvesting the wick wheat in there or something. So I added some fields for them, and they've got a mill to mill the wick wheat and stuff like that. They've got a smith now, to help repair their farm equipment and stuff like that. They've got a
You mean like basically it looks like they could live there rather than just live there.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that there's like a little warehouse where they store their stuff for shipping out and things. And yeah, there's the marshmallow farm on the coast there. Couple new buildings, but I didn't want to add too much to it to make it seem like it was like a larger settlement. I just kind of wanted to add a few things to make it seem more believable. So there's two new houses on they're actually Velothi cave dwellings that are on the side there. So I think those are the egg miners that are living in those cave dwellings. So those in the vanilla game, those only show up in Nisus. So so I figured with this being a Velothi settlement, it wouldn't be too out of place to have those here as well.
Simple little dwelling, and nobody lives in there, so you don't need to commit murder to have a house.
Right. Yeah, I think let's see, the one that nobody's in there, they're probably in the egg mine. So this is another one of those ones that it'd be pretty cool to have a good NPC schedules mods. You could have them like go back and forth from work and that sort of thing. I don't want to like script that sort of thing into like hard coded into the mods itself, because it feels like it just kind of needs a framework of some sort before we add schedules like that.
Yeah, I mean, we do have NPC go home. That is a good start. Where the NPCs at night.
That one.
It's not on the Nexus. There's only the GitHub release, because Celestial, I think, hasn't been active in a while, but it works fine. And basically, unlike Grumpy's mod that would script the NPCs to be disabled at night, this is Lua, so the NPCs are not scripted, and at night they either go back to their home, if they have one, or to the nearest inn in town. So they spend the night drinking.
Interesting. Does that happen just dynamically? Like, does it check for an interior that has their NPC name on it, or does that need to be set up like on the mod side or something?
I really don't know. I haven't looked at the code because even if I did, I probably wouldn't figure it out.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, I'm guessing that NPCs have been told if they have a house, then it's been coded to send them to that cell, and then any other NPC are just sent to the inn, I think.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, that was that's one of the other things I tried to do with this, is try to make sure that, you know, everyone had somewhere to sleep. And I think Voss was actually pretty good about that. I think I had to do a little bit in the trade house, or maybe I didn't have to add beds for this one. I know in the trade house I made it so that you could actually rent a room in the trade house there, because before it was broken. So now there's a room you can rent. There's actually a quest associated with that one too that kind of branches off. And you get woken up by a rat if you try sleeping in the bed, because if you remember from vanilla, they've got a rat problem in this trade house where they actually came and ate all their cheese, their shipment of cheese that they just got from, I don't know if it was from Cyrodiil or something, but yeah, so it kind of kickstarts a quest around that, and you end up going and getting a rat catcher. So yeah, that was one of the things that with the mods I make, I try to, it's very fun to do the, you know, the world design and, you know, trying to make things believable and stuff, but I never feel like a mod is complete unless it has quests to go along with it. I think that's a really good way to introduce the player to characters and, you know, help organically develop, you know, different concepts or areas and that sort of thing. So there's actually quite a few new quests you can do in Voss here in the trade house. There's like there's some pamphlets hanging from the ceiling that some of them start some quests that have journals, or maybe a couple that don't have journal entries associated with them. So it's, yeah, I think it just helps make the world feel more alive.
So it's not just eye candy.
Right.
I like that. I like. There's been a lot of city expansions in particular that would add buildings, and it would look good. It would look impressive, possibly. But if the buildings don't have a purpose, then it feels a little bit, what's the word, lackluster, I guess.
Right.
So yeah, definitely better just add a couple of buildings because they need a warehouse for their equipment, because they need a place to sleep, and then leave it at that, unless there's something else.
Right. Yeah, so that's pretty much, I mean, yeah, like I said, I didn't physically change too much about Voss, just, you know, adding a couple buildings and stuff, and then the quests, though. Yeah, I mean, aside from, you know, looking at quests, that's probably most of what there is to do. Oh yeah, there is that well that I made for it. So I think that one is set up with the asphalt interop, so you should be able to get water from there.
Yeah, those interrupt for asphalt, and I think we're gonna see more and more for mods. It's going to be amazing. That's another one of my pet peeves. Like, I want my mods to work with one another. I want that mod A and mod B together. I get more than the content of mod A and mod B. I got them to do C.
Yeah,
maybe I'm not explaining that right.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm really excited about the interops, and I think I mostly interact with Asphalt with OAAB, but I know we recently added the interop for Enumeral's what was it, the tooltip mod, right? So it's just in general, it's pretty neat that, you know, as to interact with those mods, all you got to do is just add a little text file to your mod, and all of a sudden it just works, right? So I think I agree. I love seeing mods interact like that.
Me too. Like it very much. We've been looking at a parasol tree. It's very subtle, but it's one of your older mods in there.
Oh, the parasol particles. Yeah, that one. I like that one a lot. The one issue I've noticed with it that I haven't really figured out how I can fix it is that Bethesda scaled a lot of the parasols up to 2 times scale. And the issue there is that the way that the particle system works in Morrowind, and I don't pretend to know the details, but if you scale up a mesh in the construction set like that, the particles don't seem to scale properly or something. Basically, you can end up with gigantic particles on these, or maybe not gigantic, but at least much bigger than I intended particles on these meshes when they get scaled up like that. So it's bothered me quite a bit recently, but I haven't really figured out the best way to deal with that. You'd almost have to replace any of the meshes that are 2 times scale with a new mesh with smaller particles or something. So, but yeah, I like that one. Again, it's just stuff to kind of make the world feel a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah, indeed. All right, I am back to Vos. That is a funny mixture of imperial architecture and Telvanni mushroom.
Right. Yeah, that aspect of it seems to come up in debate pretty frequently, where some people seem to think that it's an old imperial tower that Arion took over, but I'm definitely in the camp, done a lot of research, and I'm definitely in the camp that he actually built the tower this way. So and then grew the Telvanni mushrooms with it in conjunction, essentially. So yeah, there's a lot to do in here, because originally, so some people might remember the Tel Vos tower here was actually based on a slightly older mod I made, Tower of Vos, which honestly it wasn't really made seriously by me. I kind of just wanted to have a giant tower to look at in the Grazelands. I thought it would be fun just to expand it, and then I had it active for so long, I just kind of accepted that that's how Tel Vos should look. So it ended up getting incorporated into this bigger overhaul mod, because, and actually, just for a little bit of history, this mod that's now got the grand name of OAAB Grazelands, originally it was a very good example of feature creep, because I only started this mod originally simply to add interiors to the tower, because it bothered me that I made this tower much taller, but you couldn't actually explore the new height. There was nothing to fill it in, essentially, new interiors and that sort of thing. So it kind of bothered me about that. So originally, when I first started this mod, I only planned to add interiors to the Tower of Tel Vos. That's it. And then that was it. That's all I wanted to do. It was add some interiors, and I started adding interiors, and then I decided, Vos itself really needed some attention. And then once I started getting into Vos, I started doing the quests and touching other areas of the Grazelands, and then just eventually ballooned, and people convinced me to just name it OAAB Grazelands. So now I've essentially accepted the entire region. So I'm touching other areas of it.
Your mission, should you accept it? Oh no, you've already accepted it.
Yes.
One region at a time. I want to go back to the chat real quick. Sip has an explanation for the tower, saying that Arion needed to compensate for something.
Yes, yeah.
Because he doesn't have as many slaves as the other Telvanni. That's what it is. I have a question. I have a question. Target practice on the wall of the tower. That can't be just a coincidence.
Yeah, this one, I think I added this here because, if I remember correctly, the door behind you, I think it leads into the barracks. And So I wanted the Telvanni marksman essentially to just similar to practice, and if I think it might be in vanilla where it's got that door that just kind of leads out onto a parapet just out in the open space essentially. So I kept that in the OAAB version, and yeah, just toss some targets out there. So
Except they don't work.
no,
This
they
mod is such a disappointment. I'm
well,
sorry to say.
they will stick in there with pincushion, but you're not gonna.
True.
You're right. You're not gonna train your marksman skill on it yet.
Yet. Good.
Yet.
You heard it,
Yes.
guys.
We'll see about that.
I didn't tell you, but people are taking notes of all the features that you promised to implement.
I don't know if that legally counts as a promise, though. I mean, yet could be 2090. It could be very far in the future.
True. True. The arrows don't stick at the right angle. No, they kind of do. They kind of do. Look. Like in that direction. No, they really do. He actually thought about that level of detail.
Yes. Yeah, I tried to get them to point there as much as possible.
Yeah, no, that works. They're really a cool Telvanni would have moving targets so that they can levitate around and hurl fireballs at the target.
Actually, speaking of levitating, I don't know if you caught it. There's a Telvanni guard that patrols between Vos and I think it's between Vos and the other egg mine, the Cineralit egg mine, and he will actually levitate periodically, float up into the air, and just kind of take a peek around the area before lowering back down. So
I think I've seen him because but earlier today I had my NPCs disabled, and I saw one with levitation. I was like, that's odd. I think it might be this guy right there.
Right.
Telvanni Guard 8 might be. You've seen him, okay? I didn't dream this. Welcome back. I think we've talked about this before, but will there be any changes to OAAB when Open Morrowind Lua releases?
There might be. In general, most of OAAB functions fine essentially without the MWSE components that are part of it. So, and I'm not going to pretend that I can write the Lua code whatsoever. I kind of plagiarize some things that other people have written sometimes when I need to do something, but even when I try to do that, I end up going and crying to one of the people who actually knows how to do Lua to bail me out. But as far as what could change, it depends. I'd say it's maybe less in OAB data itself and more maybe on the mod side, like in Grazelands, for instance. There's some Lua aspects to it, like with the there's like a flawed enchantment that summons a Daedric rat, I think, if you use it wrong, right? So that sort of thing, we might be able to read that over into Open Morrowind Lua. But like I said, to me it just kind of depends on how one-to-one the new code is, and I would definitely be relying on some other people to help out with that. So I guess it just remains to be seen.
I mean, now there's actual talks of Lua for Open Morrowind, which is great. I think the challenge, or one of the challenges, is to try and make it as close as possible to Lua that with MGE, so that modders who have already published a few Lua mods don't go, oh, no way, there's no way I'm converting that to another format for Open Morrowind. So I know that people like Null and Merlord already said that the chances that Lua mods as we have them could be just loaded in Open Morrowind once it has Lua, that's probably not going to happen. But I kind of hope we'll be close to that, because if you think about the amount of work that Merlord has done with Ashfall, and then to tell him, could you redo it again? But
Right.
it's still Lua, okay, but you can use this function, that function is called that, and that. Like, he might, but I don't want to imagine if it's like creating a whole new mod, I think. Except
Right.
that it's not fun, because when you make something new, it's exciting and you see how it's gonna work. But when you just redo something, I noticed something on the walls, and I'm looking at it right now, so you'll see it in a few seconds. It looks like the stones have it could be either a glitch with the textures, or it's actually with the models. You were talking about the stones sticking out. Is that what I'm looking at?
It is, yeah. So I actually added those specifically for the mantling climbing mod. So those are points on the tower that you can use those to climb it. And so I thought it was kind of it's a dual purpose where I think it kind of looks kind of neat, where it adds a little bit of detail to the tower as well, but they're actually functional. So you can target those while you're using the climbing mod to climb the walls of the tower.
Mm-hmm. So you can go.
Yep.
I'll look for the link to the video. I can't remember now if I've seen it on Discord or on your channel, because it's quite impressive to see how you can climb all the way up.
Yeah,
Assuming you
it
are
is.
strong enough, so you can
Right.
grab here, grab there, grab there. It's quite impressive. Right. Is there something we want to look at in the tower itself?
There's a couple interesting new rooms. Let me think. There's Arion's conservatory up at the top. You could take a look at that. It's not very big, but it's just kind of a place I made for Arion to chill essentially. Um, there's a little secret in there, not a big spoiler, but a little spoiler that there's a little waterfall in the conservatory. If you get into the passages underneath Tel Vos, you can actually shut that off, and if you go talk to Arion, you'll piss him off. So there's a very small quest. I think it may not even have any journal
you
entries.
can turn off his waterfall? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, you can turn off the waterfall in his conservatory, and he'll get pretty ticked off about it. So
Who wouldn't?
yeah, so that's a right. Let's see. So where's the? I see you looking around. Did you find the entrance to it?
I got into the general quarters.
Oh yeah, the general quarters is a good place. That was kind of something I added more as filler. I needed ideas for what to stick into the tower. So the general quarters, it's got a few of his retainers in there, and then I think the lower part of it actually has the mouth's chambers, where if you've played House Telvanni, you'll remember that Arion has his current mouth, Gallos Methendus, but eventually Gallos retires and you actually become Arion's mouth for a brief period of time. So that's where part of the quests for my mod, where Gallos and Arion are buddies. So Arion lets Gallos basically retire to Tel Vos to work on his research.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then later on, you and Gallos actually help find a new mouth for Arion, because that's kind of a gap they leave in the vanilla game where you're Arion's mouth for just a very brief period, and then you ditch and become the Archmagister or whatever, and then Arion doesn't have a mouth anymore, right? So there's actually a quest with Gallos to help find a new mouth. So and then that kind of branches off into there's a whole quest line for Gallos, which I had a lot of fun making.
Filling in the gaps.
Yeah.
In the game. We're looking at the mass quarters right now, and I really, really like when you enter and you're clearly in an Imperial tower, but you see the roots that are going through the wall. One day this is gonna fall on somebody's head.
Yeah,
Just saying.
and so one of the things that I tried to do here in Tel Vos was to try to make sure that the interiors matched the exteriors as much as possible. So you can actually see this area on the exterior of the building where, you know, the roots wrap around the tower essentially, and there's some, I think there's some dormers on the root essentially that lead into this area. But yeah, this was a very fun room to make, right? Because there's not any other areas in the game where you have an excuse to blend Imperial and Telvanni tile sets together, right? So it was fun to capitalize on that.
And it's so much fun. I really like, especially for dungeon, because we have a bit more freedom. But even in vanilla dungeons, where it's a Dwemer ruin, but part of it is underwater, so you get elements of underwater and the plants that you find there, and bits of the Dwemer. Or if you like, you're just mixing up things together, like nature has taken over a tower, for example. Still kid bashing. It's beautiful kid bashing. It's kid bashing at its best. That's the kid bashing that we want. I hate water levels. I hate water levels too. I can't, like, especially in Morrowind, because that's the only game I play. I physically breathe in before going in, and I actually do a little dive like that, which is ridiculous, but I can't help it. And then I panic, like, let's breathe. I see that you added a cauldron and a ladle, which is fine. Of course, on Sunday, when I was doing permadeath, we found a cottage, which I have loaded. So if we have time, we can take a look at it.
Oh
And
yeah.
in the cottage, you actually have a little fireplace going on where you can douse the flame, and that's cool. But it doesn't work with ashfall.
Oh no. Breaks it, huh?
Yep.
Interesting. Yeah, I was thinking about Ashfall while I'm actually working on a Grazelands update right now. And I was messing around with an Ashlander camp in the middle of the Grazelands, and I added a campfire to it, and I was thinking about hanging a pot from the campfire, and I was thinking about, you know, how Ashfall would be able to handle it if I hung that there. And then I think Ashfall like dynamically replaces the campfire models in the game with, you know, ones that are compatible with it. So I think there would probably be a little bit of incompatibility there if I actually manually hung a pot from it. So I decided to leave the pot on the ground.
Which works. Is it an ashfall pot though?
No, it's the vanilla pot.
I'm pretty sure at some point Merlord will have an automatic replacer. Like, he's done that for the ovens, the fires. I'm pretty sure vanilla pots will become ashfall compatible at some
Right.
point. It goes on up. I'm going up, okay? I'm not
Yes.
sure, but I think I've reached the top of that tower.
Yeah, I think that's about all there is in the general quarters, and then I think above this is the conservatory, but you got to levitate up to that or climb. And then I think below this there's the main hall where you've got Arion's library down there. Yeah, there's, like I said, there's honestly I don't even remember exactly where the entrances are. There's a whole secret passages area underneath the tower that leads into a few places. Like, you've got Arion's vault down there. You can find there's a little mini quest we could try doing that does take you down into the secret passages that might be interesting.
Okay,
If
if I need to go through the central tower to start the quest, perfect, because I'm right in front of the door.
I think it's the services tower. I think it's the services tower where you start that quest.
Northeastern.
I think yeah, so there's I know there's like the northeastern
Southern.
tower.
Still Central Tower. I could never, even in vanilla, find my way. And then I was never a proper mage, so levitating was with potions, and I was like, quick, must find the door,
Right.
and then I would fall to my death.
Yes,
So
and I just made
it
it worse with my mod, so.
I found the Great Hall.
The Great Hall is cool to see.
Well, let's take a look because I found it.
Yeah, the Great Hall is cool. That was a new one I added. It just got some people studying in his library, essentially, that he loans out to his retainers and stuff like that. So they've got some custom dialogue in there, and there's a Daedroth in there that's kind of the quote librarian. So people will talk about the Daedroth.
Vyasa. With this lovely throne. But because there's I'll stop moving so you'll see it. Because there's just a stone sort of sticking out on top of the chair where you sit, it just reminded me of the really, really old toilet where you would have a lid. You would have to remove the lid. And I was like, or maybe that's just for a convenience. Vyasa have needs like anybody else.
Right.
Vyasa,
so I'll tell you a
secret
secret though.
Yeah.
There is an entrance to the secret passages in this town. So it's right near the Daedroth's throne.
Okay.
Yeah, so I think there's one of the secret doors around the corner from there. I think that's where I put it.
There, hidden door. Using the vanilla hidden door. Such an underused asset, actually. It's not badly made, honestly. If you don't know there's a door, you really miss it quite easily.
So that's an interesting thing. So in vanilla, they did actually have an issue with the hidden door that you could see it if you were looking for it. So I think they had the issue was they didn't have the vertex coloring from the regular walls on the hidden door, so it would show up much lighter than the regular wall. So that was something I think originally I had a patch for that, maybe in OAAB itself, but then I think that's now merged into the optimization patch with Ramiro. So I think I contributed that to MOP, so it should be in there. So you've got that consistency now. Oh yeah, so you found the secret passages.
Well, now that you told me where the door is, I was like, yeah, found the secret passage. Is that meant to be a magical light source or a sigil?
So those are meant to be like light runes, essentially, that Ariane kind of put down there to keep the place lit up. So they're not really implemented in a way that the player can use them, but they're just a little asset to, kind of have a way to create some artificial light down there.
It's magic lighting.
Right.
Eco-friendly, renewable energy.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I think this is the area of the secret passages. I think this is the one that can get you over to the vault.
Yeah, I have found it. I'm gonna take a look around real quick to see what else there is. Stairs. We can hear the water. I think one of the interesting. One of the things that I really like, apart from those little relatively speaking, those little graphic mods, is the little audio mod. Just the little things that you don't necessarily notice, but when you do, you realize just how immersive that is.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, those mods are excellent. Like R0's Flies mod, little things like that just add a lot to the game.
All right, let's check out the vault.
All right. So there's a little trap. Ariane doesn't just let you in
Yeah, what I'm thinking
for
is that
free.
going to kill me again? God,
So I'm getting a
God
little bit of
will
latency,
save
but
me. No.
right. But I'm assuming I think it when you first try to go in, it dumps you in the flooded area, right?
Oh, let's find out. No, I just
Or
have a
maybe.
trap. It was a poison trap. Ooh, I got a
Oh.
warning. I'm missing a book asset.
Uh-oh.
It could be, I've done every week. I change the installed to get the mods of the guest of the week. So it could be that I've missed something. It's
Oh,
the
it could
Engasta
also.
model.
Ah, shoot. Yeah, so this was, I'm going to take note of that because I think I made this, originally some of those assets were actually included in OAAB data, and then we intentionally cut out mod specific assets. We just wanted generic stuff in OAAB data, so I might have missed that tome, unfortunately, so I took note of that.
Okay, I am in the submerged tunnel. I would
Yes.
really, really like to see the moss sway in the water.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So I think I made it so it's like coming up from the ground or whatever. So not really how it was intended to be used. But yeah, that would be very cool. I agree.
And I'm guessing, I know that, I mean, it could be MGE, couldn't it? Like, generated like grass.
Yeah, you might be able to use MG. So in here, I think there's a loose brick or something down at the end of the tunnel that you got to switch to be able to get back out of here.
Don't mind me, Merlord just came in the chat. And that was quite loud.
Oh, I see Murlord's comment. They are not functional bubbles. No, unfortunately, you've got no
We
way
can't
to
breathe them.
recatch your breath. No, no, I don't. This was before we did PMS, so yeah, it's a
Yeah.
good acronym for that mod.
So I'm not the one who had a little heart attack there. Okay, I did the loose brick thingy, and I think I saw a passage. That reminds me, in the mod, it was also a madness mod in Ebonheart. What did we call it? The one with the sewers.
Oh, is it just called Ebonheart Sewers? I don't remember. I
No, no,
remember
no, no, no,
testing that
no.
mod.
Forgot. Well, I can't even remember the names of the mods I worked on. But anyway, what Abbott scripted, there is a loose brick, and there is the little alcove in the wall, and you actually have to pick up the brick and place it quite neatly in there. On the works, thank you. And a lot of people were like, I don't know what to do with that. It makes no sense because it's not something you do in Morrowind, to pick up an
Right.
item and put it where it belongs, basically.
Yeah, that was a really fun mod though. I remember testing that one.
You do test pretty much every madness mod, I think, and you
I
send
try. It's a
nice
lot of fun.
feedback. That's good. That's really, really good. Right, I made it to the vault.
All right. So
There's
there's
a
some
golden
more
sand.
traps. They're not done with Aryan's traps though. He doesn't want you to get to your vault get to his vault that easily.
Fortunately, I'm levitating. I got a feeling this could be. Yeah, it's called Imp Trap 01.
Yeah, so I think stepping on those will cast a random spell on you essentially.
Let's take a look. GTL. I have triggered a trap. I did. It only happens once though.
Yeah, I can't remember if I made him reset. Maybe I didn't.
There might be a timer. We'll try on the way out. Ooh, leisure.
Right.
The book contains. Yeah, but you're not telling me what. Meaning that if I want to steal something, I'm gonna have to browse. Oh yeah, the trap resets. There's a timer on it.
There you go. Yeah, I think there's not too many unique things in his vault. I know there's a cursed spear, if I remember correctly, that's got like a little note next to it. You can also find my version of the Moonreaver blade down here. I think Tamriel Rebuild had their own take on this, so mine's a little bit exotic. So some people like it, some people don't, but it was a interesting experiment in making the model. So that one's down here, and then also that book you were missing a model for, Ngasta's book. I think that one's from Redguard, if I'm not mistaken. So that one's, I did include that for a reason. So both of those were included for a reason. So Arion is actually studying Ngasta. So if you look at in the vanilla game, he's got a note up in his chambers where he's actively studying it. And then the Moonreaver blade, I think it's got a note next to it. It's actually a gift from Divaith Fire, who's his old mentor, essentially. So Divaith has some links to the Battle Spire and that sort of thing. So that's kind of goes into the note. But yeah, the blade itself is a little bit extreme. But
it's a little extravagant. It's true. It does look cool though. In a way, it reminds me a little bit of the symphony, and the way that it's intricate, it's beautiful, it's extravagant, and it might be a little too extravagant, especially if you're a purist and you want things to not stick out. But it's gorgeous.
Right.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, some people like it, some people don't. It's the reason I went with that design is because the blade is said to be, I think, forged from the essence of Mehrunes Dagon, so I wanted to make it look very Daedric. And then it's also ended up very large as well. But
yeah, I'm getting a bit of a Final Fantasy vibe.
Yes, it's a very, which maybe that is possible. I got some inspiration from there. I do like a couple of the Final Fantasy games, so.
Lord Dagnamor, you can't do anything because I've disabled you, and now I'm helping myself. Black tourmaline, nice. Ooh, I love the coin purses.
Oh yes, yeah. I think those were. I think that I might have originally added those from London Rook. I don't remember. He had some coin pouches, I think, in his Outlander assets. I don't remember if they were scripted or not, because I've got them scripted, so when you pick them up, you get a random amount of gold, and I think that might be. Is it Skyrim that does that sort of thing? I don't remember. Yeah, I know I got inspiration for those from somewhere.
They're really cool. In my class mod, I've actually some classes like the bankers, the traders, the nobles, like people who ought to be rich enough, they get one.
Ah, okay. Yeah, that's neat. Yeah, I noticed you picked up that dragon's blood.
Yeah,
I think that's what it's called, dragon's
cool.
blood potion.
Looks
So that,
I
yeah, so that is
did I?
actually. I don't know. I thought I saw you pick it up, but that's actually from an unused quest in the vanilla game. So it's a quest that Bethesda never finished, which was Arion. I think this is what it is. Arion sends you to assassinate what's his name? The guy in Sadrith Moor, Neloth. He sends you to assassinate Neloth, and he gives you a couple dragon's blood potions. And so I think I ended up not re-implementing that quest just because it didn't really make sense in the end to add it back, but I did really like the reference to the dragon's blood potions and Arion having some of those, so I decided to model it up and throw it into his vault.
That makes sense. Sip is like Slender. Arion asked you to make Neloth retire. There's a new one.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah. There's a new one there. It's an important one.
I'm pretty sure that he says, quote, retire in quotations, if I remember correctly.
Retire. But also, isn't Neloth like basically the only guy that we see years later in Skyrim Soulstime?
I think so, which is interesting because he's not necessarily the one I would expect to survive, but maybe he's just.
But
yeah, maybe he's just the one that ended up on
a minute there to pay respect to Bethesda. Like years later, 10 years later, they had a quest to have someone killed, and then they didn't put it in the game because they knew that they were going to make a game years later, and then they would use that guy. And then
Right.
people say that Bethesda just go like without thinking. They plan those things. The foresight, I tell you, amazing.
It is interesting. Yeah, I know in the vault there's also a cursed spear, one of the failed enchantments Arion had made. So I know that one uses Magicka Expanded. If you have that installed
Not sure I
to...
have.
If you don't, I think it still works with Morrowind script because I wanted to make it work in Open Morrowind, but it uses just the old, hacky scripted spells method of getting the summon to work.
Bound helmet spell, and you go, "Why have a bound helmet spell? What is it? Is
I
it
haven't
the
tested it in a while.
venomous spear?"
Yes, that sounds like it.
Looks pretty cool. Looks like a spear you would want to bring with you in a Kwama mine.
Right. So I don't remember if you don't have Morrowind or Magicka Expanded installed. I haven't tested it in a while to know if the scripted spell works.
Venomous spear. Like the effect listed is a summoned Daedric.
Oh yeah, no, that's...
Oh, a Verlimoth. This is so adorable. I want that as a pet. Except it's not a pet. It hates me.
Yeah, so that's the issue with the enchantment, right? Is it's bugged, so it summons hostile Verminoths.
I do like the Verminoth though. Can we have a quest to have a successful summon Verminoth spell?
Yeah, that might be doable. Yeah, those people, don't crucify me here, but I actually made those kind of sort of inspired by the Daedrats from Elder Scrolls Online, but I gave them a better name, I think. I think Verminoth sounds a lot
I like
cooler
the
than
name.
Daedrat.
The name is cool. And Sip called it. Was the enchantment inspired by the various ESO mounts? Oh yes! You make a bigger one and you can ride it. And then,
Oh man.
if you get a special item in a loot crate, you can recolor it purple. The model of the spear is pretty cool though.
Yeah, I think that I don't remember who made that. I think someone else made it, and maybe it was even AutoClock. I think maybe that's who made it. I remember somebody made it, and I wanted to use it, but I couldn't think of a spot, and I decided this would be a cool place to implement it.
Why not?
Right.
I'm doing my shopping at the same time. By the time I leave the vault, I will be fully decked in the best armor ever. Yes. Shinies. Pack Verminoth will probably happen at some point. I don't know.
Right.
It's still there though. It stays there forever.
Yeah, I think they pretty much stay there till you kill them,
it.
essentially.
I
So
won't
yes.
kill it. I won't kill it. And a pair of boots. That's... Oh, no way! Arion is keeping a broken pair of ebony boots?
Oh man.
Oh, he can keep it. Is there a reason? Is there a story behind that? Or they're just broken?
To be perfectly honest with you, I would guess that I might have copied those from one of the Great House vaults, and it was probably broken there. That would be my guess. I don't think I remember actually setting the durability to 0.
Eesh, I can't jump. Oh, brother, I jumped in the water for nothing. I was hoping for a secret passage or something.
Oh, yeah. I might change something there at some point. For now, it was just a little bit of eye candy.
It does look cool. I'm very, very keen on interior water features. Really like that.
Right.
That was the way in.
Yeah, so something actually happens when you try to leave here too. Ariane's got another trap for you.
I go straight to jail. I like that. But it's like, if you want to go out, you have to return the stuff you took from me. Oh, but come on. My
So
very
if
own
you
spear.
right, so if you left, and I'm getting, like I said, it's a little bit of lag, but do you have, if you still have AI off, it might not have happened, but whenever you go into the cell, the jailer actually approaches, and you've got to convince him to let you out, essentially.
Yeah, no, I've disabled everyone because I have collision off, so they would be walking in the air, madness.
There is
Right.
someone watching me.
Go straight to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200 or dollars, whatever.
Yeah, and I think if you go out and get put in jail a second time, I think he won't let you out, if I remember correctly, but he'll give you a pass one time.
So you'd better steal everything you can first and hide it in your secret pocket.
Right.
Okay. Well, there are more secrets in Tel Vos, but people will have to wait. That was the vault, though. I still haven't managed to find the conservatory, have I?
Oh yeah. Yeah, the conservatory is all the way up at the top of the tower, basically just outside of Aryan's chambers. Essentially, Aryan's chambers are the Telvanni part of the tower up at the top.
I haven't found the door. No, but it would be in that bit. So we're looking for a Telvanni door, probably. We have a platform here. With a little secret alcove. What is this for? Is this where, and a bedroll, so you can actually nap here.
Yes.
Is that for the gods or for Master Aryan when he wants to chill a bit?
That is for the guard that's hanging up out there, or hanging out up there.
How considerate.
Yeah, I think he was. Maybe he wasn't up there. I don't even honestly. I don't even remember from vanilla anymore. I think maybe I put a guard up there initially, and then I realized he didn't have anywhere to take a nap, so I just put that up there for him.
They have no excuse for not being on duty. Didn't I unlock that?
Right.
Pretty, yeah, I remember this one. Very,
Yeah. So this.
very pretty.
Yeah, I think this room benefits a lot from having light added coming through the windows. Kind of gives it a cool look.
Looks good around nighttime as well, and the window is not showing light anymore.
Right. Oh shoot! It looks like the waterfall isn't in there. So I think I don't remember. Did I not update this in the latest version? I remember somebody pointed that out to me. There was a bug that waterfall that was supposed to be coming through that gate had gotten hidden or something. I thought I had it patched
I
the
didn't
latest
do
version,
it.
but maybe I haven't. Oh boy, yeah, maybe I forgot to patch that back in. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of turning it off to take Ariane off. So I'll have to double check that I did add that back in.
Very chill. We're missing a pipe. Come on, Master Aryan doesn't have a skooma pipe hidden somewhere.
I don't think so. I don't remember. It's been a while since I made this room.
Yay, animated ventilation.
Yes.
Obviously. There's all the CO2 at night. Needs to evacuate it.
Right.
Yeah, this is a lovely room. Let's make it day again so we can see with the light. beautiful. Very, very chill. And then we're back to NPC schedule. It would be really nice to find him in here.
Yes. Yeah, I would. Agreed.
But he would tell you, this is my spot.
Right.
Go away. Here's the key to my vault. Have fun.
Right.
Say hello to the Golden Saint. Amada? I think Amada is the name. A young liberal Telvanni. I mean, yeah, like you got obviously the Dwemer items. You have the Imperial. Ooh, he's got some fancy quill pen.
Right. Yeah, part of my background for Arion that I kind of wanted to demonstrate in this mod is that I think he has a fair amount of wealth that he's bringing with him, and I didn't want to, divulge where that necessarily came from. But, essentially, my justification was that, a Telvanni that has the means to, contract the construction of an imperial fort like this and the Telvanni side of it. I just kind of figured that he probably has a little bit of means to, monetarily to fund that, right? So I kind of tried to push that. He's got the vault, and then he's got this fairly extravagant room that he can just hang out in, essentially. So trying to go overboard, but I just wanted to kind of have that show through a little bit.
It is beautiful. I'm a little envious of this place.
Right.
And it's got an Imperial banner hanging.
Yeah, so Arion's a bit of an Imperial fan, but not necessarily in the way that some people might think. So at least in my estimation of him, he doesn't like the Empire and Imperials. He's definitely still very much a Telvanni, but I think he, as people said, a liberal Telvanni. I think he sees some benefits from Imperial culture that he thinks could be useful in Morrowind, essentially. So he's a bit of a nerd for their culture and that sort of thing. He had the Imperial Museum in Vanilla, right? So I kind of use that in some of the design philosophy here too.
That works. And I agree with you. I don't buy the old Imperial fort. Like, I'm not a lore buff, but has the Empire been here for a long time? Not that long. All
Right.
things considered. So
Yeah.
So for them to have been here, to build a fort, and then the time for the fort to be abandoned, and then for Arion to move in, it's like the Empire. I don't even know. Somebody knows when the Empire basically took control of Morrowind, leaving the tribunal to sort of manage things. I don't think it's that long ago, and definitely not so long that they would build something, abandon it, and then let people move in.
Right. Yeah, I don't remember the years necessarily, but I know there's been a lot of arguments over, where or rather, the origins of the Imperial portion of the tower. And I think there's a lot of evidence pointing to Arion actually being the one who constructed it, especially if you look at the contract foreman's journal down in the dungeon. I think it helps show that pretty clearly, and also some of the dialogue from the Vos residents about Arion and the tower and stuff like that. It's pretty clear that he constructed it versus it being something that was there before. So, yeah.
And even the vanilla, of course, this one is even more impressive. But even the vanilla one, it's nothing like it's Imperial texture, but it's nothing like the design of the forts. It's custom made, really.
Yeah.
Cute little pod I missed here. No, but you can't go in. It's too small. I've seen the hanging tower. I did go in at some point. That's where is it? Don't hide from me. I saw you.
So I see that comment from Seventh Monday. If you're on UESP, if you actually go to the talk page for Tel Vos, there you can see there was a conversation. I actually posted in it at one point because somebody came and messaged me about it and let me know about it going on. But yeah, there's a talk page discussion about Tel Vos because originally I think on UESP they actually just came out and said that it was a imperial fort that had been taken over, and so obviously some people took exception to UESP just stating that as fact essentially, and so there was a discussion about it. And I think that the page is more generic now about the origins of it, but the talk page discussion kind of shows some of the reasoning for why it's pretty apparent that Arion actually contracted its construction.
I think it's definitely custom design. So who would want
Right.
that? No Imperial would ever be able to get all the way up anyway. Okay, all right. What do we take a look at? Hang on, I had a question and I forgot. Darn, it was a really good question. Yes, I know what it is. I briefly mentioned beautiful cities of Morrowind, and obviously Random Val did not do anything with the Grazeland because we've established, whether you like it or not, it has become your domain and responsibility. And also he's left Dagon Fell untouched because that would be, should be, will be part of OAAB. Are there plans for that, or is that way down on the list on the furthest
So
back burner available?
So I personally am not working on the Sheogorod region, but I know two people
Veneros.
have. So both Ramiros has been working on an OAB Sheogorod update, kind of an expansion of his Grove of Benabi mod, and then I know Enumeril is actually working on a Sheogorod overhaul as well. So there might be others, but I know those two at least have been working on the region.
So Sheogorod as opposed to just Dagon Fell.
Correct. Yeah. As I don't know if anyone is just working on Dagonfell, but obviously if you're doing Sheogorod, you'll probably touch the settlement in some fashion.
And I saw something in the distance that I did not recognize, and now I recognize it. It's Telmora.
Yes. Yeah. So
Is
that was released before
it
Telva.
was one of the first one. Oh my god. That
So this one, I don't know
waterfall.
if you.
Oh, stupid
Right.
weather. Thank god.
Is this the latest version? Because I know I just
It
updated
is. It
this
is the
one.
latest version. I got everything updated today to be sure. Just let me
Awesome.
cheat that rain away. We don't want the rain. We want lovely clear weather. Thank you, Morrowind. Yeah.
Yeah, so I remember when making this mod, one of the things like if you compare to Voss and Tel Vos, it kind of has it already had an established industry there where, you got the farming village essentially, and they have the nearby egg mines that they work. In Telmora, and this is true of I think quite a few of the cities Bethesda made for the game. It's not very obvious why it exists, except that Dratha just wanted to have it. Right? It doesn't really appear that the city has any industry to make it viable. So what I just made it up essentially. I made these alchemical gardens that they grow around the tower. That I kind of just decided that was their industry. Dratha got that set up, and so they grow ingredients
She's
that
in the
they
mushroom
export.
industry. That's the secret of her
Right,
fortune.
right.
And she doesn't want any male because they would consume the mushrooms rather than, get them ready to make money with them.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I did add one quest about that aspect of Telmora, which is there's unfortunate salesman that got a curse of paralyzation put on him. So you can do a quest. I think I actually might have added that quest in the Tel Vos mod, not Telmora, unless I'm mistaken, because you can actually cure him and he'll move into the Voss trade house and start selling stuff there.
I'm not seeing, I'm looking for the alchemical gardens. Maybe I need to go a little further.
Yeah, so those are in the back, the tiered farms, essentially, back there with the waterfalls.
The water features, oh my god.
Yeah, those are new in the latest update. So those were another thing that I the streams anyway, that I reverse engineered from Skyrim meshes. They're obviously different, but I kind of took a look at the technical details of how Skyrim did it and tried to recreate it in Morrowind.
You might, I mean, like if you rotated the water a little bit, because that bit here, I'm gonna stop moving for a few seconds. That bit here, it looks like that's where the water falls and then parts both ways.
Yes,
So I can see
I
that
know.
bit there. I don't know if it's doable or if there's another one that looks the same, but like I would rotate it a bit.
Yeah, that was a little inconsistency that I'm aware of, but hadn't really decided if it was worth fixing or not. Because essentially, if I line them all up perfectly, then I wouldn't be able to rotate them around. They'd all be in a perfect row, right? So, yeah, I've given it a little bit of thought. I haven't decided the best way that I could modify those.
And then you were like, no one will notice.
Yes, but
and now the whole of the internet knows. Somebody in the chat says, and those will soon have Ashfall integration. I don't know, that person seems to be a little obsessed with Ashfall, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think they are.
Right? This is lovely. Absolutely lovely. And that makes the city so unique and different. Like it now has a purpose. We're back to places having a purpose, not just being eye candy.
Right.
Zero Fox saying, Ashfall, isn't that a lame movie? Not sure. Oh, this is so lovely.
Yeah, and so whenever I added the gardens, I made it so there's a vanilla NPC named Let who you have to cure for a temple quest in the vanilla game. So I made it so that her background is that she's one of the gardeners, and she's got a companion who helps, who works the gardens with her essentially. So now, like we were talking about before, there's a result of you doing that temple quest. So essentially, in vanilla, people will comment about how there's no healers in Telmora, and so they need you to come and help essentially. So if you complete that temple quest now, you can actually petition Dratha to allow the temple to bring some healers to the city. So they'll actually get a new house pod, and then you can do I think there's like a couple quests you might even be able to do for the healers once they move in, essentially. So yeah, that's definitely something I like to do with the mods, is try to make it so there's results. The world changes as you complete quests, and it reacts to what you do.
Yeah. Now I have a question for you, because when we think OAAB, we think amazing assets, we think overhaul of the Grazeland and then other locations being overhauled, but you are not exclusively somebody who makes models, or basically you do everything. So here's my question: what aspects of modding do you enjoy the most?
That's a good question. So I would say whenever it comes to the construction set, I definitely like doing exterior areas the most. So I don't like doing interiors very much. I tend to find them rather tedious with the cluttering. I can do them. Obviously, they're in my mods, but they're definitely not my favorite part. So I like doing exteriors quite a bit. But as soon as I started doing OAAB data, it is interesting because it also allows me to basically just work on just random assets whenever I feel like it, just tinker around in Blender. And I found that it's a very good break from, whenever I don't feel like dealing with the construction set, I can just, whip up something in Blender quickly, and it's just it's just interesting. I like both of those. So the thing I like about just making assets in Blender is that I can just make something quickly and then load it into an OAB data update, and then I get to see the cool things that other people do with them, right? So we got people working on Dwemer ruins and shipwrecks and regional overhauls and tombs and stuff like that, and it's neat seeing what other people do with it. So it's just a different type of modding to do it for other people rather than just making my own things. So I like both of them. It just kind of depends. It's good to be able to switch between doing the construction set and doing Blender stuff. It just gives a different sort of satisfaction.
Mm-hmm. When you say you prefer doing exteriors, what about dungeons? Are they like interiors? Because it's not the same as putting a house and a plate and a table and that sort of thing. You get to create a landscape.
Right. And that's a good point. So, and that's part of the reason that I moved away from like using the cave tile sets, is that it felt very restrictive, similar to, doing, maybe a, house or something like that, where you're restricted to a particular tile set, which isn't necessarily as flexible as I would like it to be. So I think that helps me quite a bit to, and also increase the scale. When you get into the detail of just working on someone's house, like I said, it tends to kind of be tedious for me, bogs me down. But you're right. As soon as, I can increase the scope to something, large, like a big dungeon or something like that, I think it does help quite a bit and make it more interesting when I can work at, a macro scale instead of working, on the small details. I do like small details. I like to toss them in there, but I like to have a larger scope to work on.
For comparison and to motivate modders, this is a regular Kwama mine. So go back to a couple of hours ago when we were looking at the mine with all the assets in OAAB, and ask yourself, do you want this or do you want the other one? I know what I want. I was hoping I had found the second mine.
Yeah, I think this is the one maybe near the Ahamusa camp, if I'm not mistaken.
Next to is the Sinamusa, right next to the Ashlander camp.
Right. So this one's been on my to-do list. I want to redo this one. Probably.
I'm trying to recruit people to do it for you, and then you say, "I'm gonna do it," and they're gonna go, "Well, if the master is gonna do it."
This one, I think, if I remember correctly, it like has a dead body in it for like a dead miner or something. So I was thinking about changing that out for an Ashlander and essentially making it so this is something that the Ahamus are just a wild Kwama colony, essentially, that they kind of go into and collect eggs from. It's kind of what I had in mind.
Makes sense. They just weren't aware of the puking eggs and
right.
and the poisonous acid that you shouldn't eat. Don't Kwama poison, not good. Exactly. He did claim the Grazeland. Yeah, okay. So modders, you do not need to do any Kwama mine from the Grazeland, but the rest of the game is yours.
That's right.
Good. Yeah, that tower really does stand out, doesn't it? I'm looking at Tel Vos. It's very pretty. All right, well, I'm just flying around the Grazeland so we can enjoy it.
Probably the only other, so most of the rest of the Grazelands, I haven't touched it too much. There's a few details here and there, but the next update is where I'm hoping to get get a little bit more added that actually affects the rest of the Grazelands. So I've been working on that actually this week. So we'll see what comes of it. I'm still deciding what all I want to tweak and that sort of thing. So
We'll be patient. Now I am trying to. There's the exit from the dungeon. And it might be easier if I was looking for it at night. I'm looking for the eerie lantern.
Oh, yeah, that would be a good one to do.
Road. So I'm gonna go to the beginning of the road there, and I'm gonna stop moving so you can tell me if I'm on the right path. Zero says that he likes the mod without the road texture. That's R0's trackless Grazeland.
Yeah, so I actually am personally not a huge fan of removing the roads from the Grazelands for
and I think
a couple
R0
reasons.
is not a fan of that mod either. But then I think it's not a fan of any of his mods. So
I'm glad that the mod exists. It is an inconsistency. I had it on my list of inconsistencies because there is, a dialogue thing that says that the Grazelands are trackless, essentially. But then if you go and look at other dialogue entries, I mean, there's other things, when people are giving you directions in the Grazelands, a lot of them refer to roads, like when they're giving you directions to the Zainab camp, for instance, they'll tell you, it's south of a, crossroads or, something like that. So, and also I think that the quote, roads in the Grazelands are probably more like, Ashlander trails and that sort of thing because they are nomadic, right? So they move around their camps, at least based on dialogue. We don't see that in the game itself, but so I think that's probably part of those trails we see in the Grazelands as well.
Can we get a truly nomadic Ashlander camp that moves around with the seasons?
So I've been thinking about that. Maybe not as much with the Ahamuza. I might leave them, but with the Zainab in particular, I've been thinking about it, and I haven't really decided the best way it could be done. Because the thing is, the time scale of the game makes it so that tying it to like a particular month, and all of a sudden they move. I don't know. It just doesn't necessarily work with the way that the game itself works. So I think actually it might have been R0 had suggested maybe tying them moving to like a particular stage of the main quest or something like that. So I don't know. It's been on my mind for a while on how I want to do that because I would like to. Because in particular, one thing that I thought would be fun to dwell on is to have one of the spots that they move to be relatively close to Vos itself, so that would be the period where they, trade with the farmers and that sort of thing. And a lot of the farmers in Vos are actually the Velothi class of Dunmer, which, if you don't know, that's a class of Dunmer who have left the Ashlander lifestyle and joined the settled people, essentially. So some of them in Voss still have Ashlander names and that sort of thing. And actually the het woman, who's like the leader essentially of Voss, I forget her, I think her last name, what is it? Is it Kashad? I think, I believe she's actually a relative of the Ashkan of the Zainab camp. His name is Kashad, so they share a name essentially. So I kind of wanted to, build on that a little bit in the stage when the Zainab camp is near to Vars. So I don't really know the way I'm going to do it yet, but it's definitely something I'd like to do.
Good. I guess like you making them move every month, that would be quite a lot of hassle. But maybe have a summer camp and a winter camp might be enough.
Yeah, and that might be the way I do it. Is I just do it monthly or something. And just again, it kind of comes down to the time scale of the game, and I don't play that frequently, right? So I don't have a good judge of, if I make the camp move, once a month, is the player already going to be halfway done with the main quest by the time 30 days pass? in game, or are they building their stronghold and they just sat at a bed and waited for 30 days, and then all of a sudden the camp's moved and it feels like it's instantaneous, right? So I don't know. That's why that doing it by the month, I just am not 100% sure if that's the best way to do it. So I might do it event based. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Still thinking.
Okay, something to look forward to. And as we were talking, all of a sudden I saw the light. So I'm guessing
yes.
it gets enabled after a certain game hour. So I'm pretty sure I didn't see it. Okay.
It does. And to make things feel, so yeah, the quest is called the Eerie Lantern, and to make things feel a little bit eerier whenever you approach it at night, it actually changes the weather so it gets all foggy. So just to kind of create that ambiance, you know.
Always with the details.
Yes.
An eerie lantern that will shine forever.
Yes. So
that is so cool.
If you're doing the quest, you got to make sure you turn the AI back.
I have.
Okay. Good.
Fortunately, I did start the quest, so I knew what was going to happen. But the first time I was like, oh my god, quick, follow the light.
Right.
Foolish advice. Don't follow the light, guys. That's very, very cool. So there's already quite a few mods in OAAB. Is that something you wish to add to, or you're happy to move on to new areas that will also have a few quests? Oh, it's gone.
Yeah, I'm not really sure next. I know the very next thing I want to do with OAB is to get a bigger update in for the Grazelands. I'm thinking about, I've been recently doing research into Nikoleft, the Dwemer ruins in the region, so I'm thinking about overhauling that. I just finished making a small update to the Sapling mine, which is near, what's it called? Is it Fallon Marion? I don't remember.
Yeah, that way.
Something, the one that's at the southwest corner of the Grazeland. So I just finished updating that mine, so it would have a little bit more detail. But yeah, so I probably want to update Grazelands. Once I do that, I'm not 100% sure if I will do another OAAB thing right away, or if I'll get back to trying to finish Lythonia. I've been kind of still tinkering with that over the last year as well, so I would like to get back to that project too. So just depends on, you know, where my whim takes me, I guess.
That's just the way it should be, right? This is supposed to be enjoyable. So mod when you want to and what you want to, unless I make a request.
Right.
It's
yes.
the rule. It's the rule. I didn't make the rule. That was hardly a joke. A little bit. All right, I have found Tibal. Is it in your mind? Yes. Is it Tibal or Tibal? Tibal? How do you read that in your mind?
You know, I think I would probably say Tibal is how I would probably pronounce that.
No, it is now canon. This guy is named Tibal. Anyone who says it differently is a noob and doesn't know Morrowind.
Right. Get your phonetics right. Make them match Melchior's.
I mean, you get to make the canon. You get to decide what's canon, especially for new characters that you invented. All right, let's take a look. The Ashlander seems friendly, but speaks a language you do not understand. He repeats one word several times, which catches your attention. Salkurnudai. That would definitely catch my attention. He seems unaware that you do not respond before he notices something in the distance, sprints into the darkness, and disappears. Oh, right, I'm in the way. Oh, that's okay, I was not. You didn't know I have 300 speed. I could totally keep up with him.
Yeah, that was something I was like, I knew that if somebody was able to keep up with him, they'd see it. But I tried to kind of make him disappear over a rise before I disabled him. But you know, it's possible to break the illusion.
It really is. So I followed the light. I found a lone Ashlander. He kept saying Salkurnudai. He disappeared into the darkness. And then I'm guessing we need to go to the light stays there forever? Do you want to
did
be
it
my
not disable?
I might have bugged it up a little bit because I'm very fast. And so I arrived ahead of the light. Could that be an issue?
I'm not sure, and it's possible. It's been a while since I wrote the quest. It's possible it might not disable until you like change the cell or something. I don't remember.
All right, I'm going to the Ashlander. What was the idea of the quest? Were you inspired by?
Actually, so the idea for the quest actually comes from, gosh, I'm trying to remember how much it was actually based on in-game lore or stuff that I just made up. So there's a single dialogue entry in the original game that refers to the Grazelands by a different name. It calls it Sunaguradan, and from in unofficial but kind of official translation we got, that essentially translates to Blessed Greenland. Not very creative, but I ended up making up my own thing about it, where the Grazelands to the Ashlanders kind of represents their idea of what heaven looks like, essentially. So like an afterlife to them, and I guess I leave it somewhat ambiguous on whether or not there's actually any sort of weird realm melding going on or something like that. But basically, they kind of idealize the region compared to the Ashlands themselves. So some Ashlanders think that they shouldn't actually live in the Grazelands because it's sacred and they're not ready to live there. But other Ashlanders like the Zainab and the Ahamuza, moved there. So the spirit that you meet is basically an
ancient Ashlander.
Yeah, he's an ancient Ashlander from a tribe that's now extinct that used to live here. But so there's a little bit of backstory that I get into to try to show this link between the Grazelands and their idealized afterlife, essentially, where Ashlander spirits will sometimes come to the Grazelands and they'll just you'll wander around, essentially, because it's associated with their idea of heaven. So some of that kind of gets, so I kind of did this quest to have a way to introduce the player to that concept. Naturally, right? So it kind of goes into that a little bit. Some of the NPCs, the Ashlanders, have some exposition about it, but then there's a flip side to that, because at the end of the quest you find like the fiery bowels of underneath Tel Vos, because that's an old sacred area that you get to uncover as well. So but that was kind of the idea behind it. I had that lore idea, that headcanon, and I wanted to kind of translate it into a quest.
So it all started with one word.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much.
That's how I do things, and I think a lot of the people who are who enjoy making up their own headcanon, we tend to extrapolate quite a bit from very little information.
So here's a challenge for you. Chat is going to give you one word, and you'll tell us what mod you would make from that word.
Oh, man.
But chat, I really need you to give a word. Not something stupid, like something interesting, like table, like... We'll see. Sip, to answer your question, are we planning on showcasing some older mods? I have them installed, but at the same time we knew that 3 hours would be barely enough to cover Grazeland. Which means that Melchior will have to come some other day, so we can look at the older mods, and we'll see if Melchior is going to cringe and go, oh, I did that. Oh, this is so ugly. I can't look at it. Because I have
Oh
a
man.
feeling, because you've learned so much over the years, your very first mods might be a little hard to look at for you.
Right. Yeah, there's definitely some older mods of mine that I don't appreciate very much anymore. But I'm not one of those people that will go back and delete them. So I think it's important that mods stay available for people who are interested. But there's definitely a couple of them that if I didn't feel that way, I'd be very tempted to just go back and wipe them away.
Like that armor that I dug up from El Helova. You know, the Dulu, I forgot the name of the set.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely an old one. That was a release back on Planet Elder Scrolls. So that was when I first figured out how to retexture things, essentially. So yeah.
Yes, the Ashlander Ebony thing.
Right.
Now there's a couple of words that could be interesting. Three now. There is magniloquent, which I think is cool. Magnificent and eloquent. There is orc, and there is Red Mountain. Make a mod.
Do I have to like combine all those into a single mod, or is it?
Imagine this is the modding madness, and we are given magniloquent orc. Red Mountain.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Well, gosh, I gotta I can make guesses about the definition of magniloquent based on the.
I think you get to make it up.
Structure.
Mm-hmm.
But so let's see. Using high flown or bombastic language. Interesting. So an eloquent, bombastic orc on Red Mountain, huh? So that sounds pretty interesting. So honestly, that kind of just to me translates into a quest of some sort, maybe a companion, someone you meet. Actually, you know what? That reminds me of the orc that I designed for Mage Robes, the miner that you meet in the Mage Robes quest. He kind of fits that description of being a bombastic orc, So I've actually been very interested. I liked that character that I designed. I've been very interested in trying to sneak him into some of my other mods. His name's Gorluck, if I remember correctly. So I think I'd probably use Gorluck in that mod and maybe have him be found somewhere underground in Red Mountain. So yeah.
He kept digging his cave until it just popped out in the Red Mountain.
Right. Yeah, I actually wanted him to be kind of a mystical character, sort of a Tom Bombadil sort of thing, where he just kind of shows up and does some things and disappears, and he's kind of just mysterious in a way. Not necessarily, maybe people might suspect that he's not necessarily a mortal. So yeah.
There you go. He did it. Now we'll just have to wait for the mod next time, and we'll showcase it. Right, I did talk to an Ashlander, and she told me that I need to go and talk to a wise woman, because the ghost lantern, she recognizes it. We see the ancestors carrying them across the Grazeland on rare occasions. I do not know if it is a sacred or cursed thing that you acquired. One, you should speak to a wise woman.
Yes, wise women are very wise. They know
know
Ashlander things. Right.
Wise woman yurt. Here we go. Ghost lantern. The lantern is a physical manifestation of the ancestors' spirits linked to the other world, the dream world of the dead. While they possess it, they can roam Suna Guradan, or the Grazeland as the settled people call it, freely. But if they lose it, they will be doomed to wander until they descend into madness and must be banished. Oh, that's what happened to that guy. He dropped his lantern.
Right.
Foolish.
Yeah, I mean, he had literally one job. All he had to do was hold on to that lantern, and he dropped it.
And just move it while making spooky sounds. The settled people called this place the Grazelands. The name is fitting as our herd feeds off the rich grass, which grows in the dark soil here. However, to us, this land is much more significant than just fertile grassland. They are the blessed lands of life and greenery. This is how we envision the afterlife appears to our ancestors. And, as a wise woman, I have dreamt of the other world and can tell you that our ancestors believe much the same. Tom, tom, tom. Question for Melchior. Given your numerous talents in writing, model making, and quest making, have you thought about making your own game?
You know, I have thought about it. I think a lot of us modders have probably thought about it at one time or another, but I think one of the things, well, there's a lot of things, but honestly, I think it's partly there's a time commitment, and also that at least in my mind, I think that making a game would at least require me to have some semblance of coding capability, which I almost completely lack. So yeah, I think that's I've got the abilities of a level designer and an asset creator, and I suppose questing and dialogue and stuff, but I definitely am severely lacking in the coding department. I barely scrape by with making enough scripts for my quests essentially to make those function, but yeah, so that's part of it, but also just the time commitment obviously involved with that. I mean, as a modder, I can just release stuff whenever I feel like it, right? And I can change gears all the time, working on different mod. People can look at my Lithonia project and see how long that's taken, and that's kind of at that scale of making a very large addition to the game, and it's still not done. So I think I have a little bit of the modding ADHD or something that I switch gears so often. I'm not sure if I could stay focused enough.
On a single mod. But right. there's a few things that I'm going to try to not forget what I wanted to say. First of all, I don't think you read between the lines of Merlot's question. I think he's offering his service as a coder so that you come in with the ideas and the models and the quest and the writing, and he comes in with the code. I think I read that right.
Okay. Yes. That seems like a reasonable...
Second thing I wanted to say, no, that's it, I forgot. I had 4 things. You were talking about the scripts, how you just get by. No, I disagree. I just get by. When I saw the scripts that you did for Pimp My Shrine, for example, where you coded the battle and the enemy to say specific lines at specific times of the fight, this is not basic scripting. Basic scripting is a lot less than that. So, I will. Yeah.
I'll at least say, anytime I write a script, no matter how simple it is, I don't think I almost ever can write a script without constantly referencing the scripting for dummies. So that's my Bible for writing scripts. Is I gotta look at that to remind myself what the different functions are. So yeah, I'm better than I used to be, but there's definitely still been a lot of times where I get completely stumped with something and I gotta go ask Greatness or someone else or Abbott or someone to help me get myself through something.
Yeah. I would do the same thing on a much smaller scale, and I would okay, this should work. And then half of the time I have to go on the Discord and says, here's what I have. Find the mistake. And there's always one. There's always one. Usually a comma. Bloody commas. But hey, see, Merlot agrees that the final boss battle had some awesome scripting.
That was a lot of fun.
I'm reading between the lines, and it's saying that you know enough scripting to make your own game on your own. Sorry. Zero Fox says, and then I will help oversee the project. Yes, I can do that. I can oversee the project. Prof will do the dungeon design, and Zero Fox will work on random texture, video work, and whatever. Hey, you know what? That could be a good recipe for, if not a good game, at least a good mod.
Yeah, we were a good team. That was a very good combination.
It was fun. We did work very well. I've been thinking about recruiting some people for a game. Like,
Well, it must be a survival game, right? I mean, if it's Murlord.
not necessarily. I mean,
I think it's almost completely necessarily. I can't imagine him
no,
working on something that didn't have a survival aspect to it.
I don't know. I mean, Merlord can say what it is, but my feeling is that he enjoys making mods that allow you to role play, and that
Hmm,
survival and all of that was severely lacking, and so that's what he started working on. Because a lot
that's
of the
true.
other mods are just. I was thinking of a survival mod. Okay, fine. I shut up. You were right. I was wrong. I was wrong.
It'll
Let
just
me.
be a
Yeah.
Valheim clone, but with an Elder Scrolls leaning to it, right? Not Norse.
Hmm. I would play that. I would definitely play that.
Right, with like a magic system and stuff.
Right. Well, maybe we'll hear more about that when Merlords is my guest on stream. To be more specific, a VR camping game. Like VR, you got me like yay, but camping game? I don't know. You sit and there's a fire in front of you, and you look at the flames.
I'm
Okay.
assuming you could probably get attacked by, a grizzly bear or something, though.
Imagine building a campfire with your bare hands. I don't know. I don't know. Do you get virtual blisters? Placing logs one by one, realistic fire mechanics. I mean, that's definitely like if you look at the alchemy game that came out recently. Potion Maker, is that what it is? I know Merlord has been playing it. Where potion craft, thank you. Where literally you're just making potions, and yet it works. So VR camping game, you'll have to think of a better name though. I think. That's way
Yes.
down the road, way down the road. Shall we find out about Suna Guradan? No, I did read that. But I didn't get any journal entry. So let's try Salkonudai. Here we go. VR Alaska. Yeah, I don't know. I want the fire for sure. I've never heard that name uttered in the waking world. Ort Arbis Agad Brethren. I'm sorry about my name. Yes, I know it. The Salkonudai were an ancient tribe who lived in these lands before the sea divided us. Where did you hear it? It's the ghost. You met an
Spooky.
ancestor. A sacred and serious demonstration of favor. That lantern you found? We call it a ghost lantern. On occasion, our ancestors will walk the blessed land. You said that.
She did.
In their flesh. It's just in case. I know what you were thinking. You were like, oh, people, they don't read anymore. I'd better repeat the important information a couple of times.
Right.
The land is pleasant for them and free of any mortal chill, which they shun. Sometimes they long for the warm breeze of the Red Mountain. Really? The warm breeze of... That must have been a long time ago.
Right.
before it got all, blight.
A bit of a sickly breeze now.
Yeah, it's like, not great. These roaming ancestors will typically be seen carrying a lantern such as yours. I know, you told me. Like, really?
She did. She did.
But, I mean, at the same time, you can't see her, but she's an older lady, so... Maybe. Hey, Luce, welcome back. Otherwise, the spirit you met will be trapped. I know, he dropped his lantern. I can perform the necessary rituals of sendings, but the ancestor chose to appear to you for a reason. You should be the one to put it back to rest. Will you accept this burden?
Did you choose to accept it?
Here, take the lantern. I want no part in this. Nah, the lantern is good. It's really bright. So,
Yes.
I will honor. Would turning the quest down mean that the quest is over? Or you
I
can
think
come
so.
back later?
I'm,
Okay.
I think this is a time sensitive thing, so
Oh. Oh, time-sensitive quest. Now that's a big topic. How do you feel about time-sensitive quests? Because we don't have them in Morrowind, even though the blight is creeping and all of that, and everybody is turning into deformed zombies and stuff, but time doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think this one is more implicitly time sensitive, where if you reject it, it's just assumed that the spirit goes mad, essentially. So I don't think I actually implemented a time tracking for this one, but I guess my opinion on it is, in general, I think it doesn't work very well for Morrowind to time restrict you, just due to the scale, I suppose, and traveling around and that sort of thing. So yeah, I don't even know there's too many mods that try to do that, to be honest.
I think it comes down to the fact that even if there is a quest that is truly time sensitive, as a Morrowind player, we don't expect, that's not the sort of mechanics that we expect and used to. So I'd probably go, oh, okay, yeah, if I go in that part of Vvardenfell, I might look it up and see what's up. But I would completely miss it because it's like the example of the stone that you should pick up and put back in the wall. People didn't think of it because it's not a thing that's possible in the game.
Right.
So even though I like the idea, I think it would clash too badly or too much with how people have been playing the game for so long.
Yeah.
Remember the one mod that asked you to summon Beothia on his summoning day specifically? Yes, that was a good one. There is... Oh, who did that mod? Is it Necrolegion? That save the date. I'm gonna look it up. It was one of the Mojang mods, save the date, where essentially it reintroduces... Is it save the date? It is Necro. I got that right. Yes, it reintroduces the summoning days for the Daedric princes. Like in Oblivion, basically.
Right. Yeah, that's one of those things where I love the idea of it, but functionally, like only being able to like do a Daedric quest specifically one time a year is so restrictive from a gameplay perspective. It probably just doesn't work. But the idea of it's awesome because, you know, Bethesda did implement summoning days specifically for each Daedra. So
maybe if it was, because you're right, like in time in the game we can modify the time scale, so from one game to another time is not even the same. If it was a week or even a month at a time, maybe it could be something like, ooh, because how long is a day? It's like less than an hour of playing, give or take, I think. So that's not a lot of time to remember to do the quest and then go there and then gather the stuff. But if it's a week or a month, you go like, ooh, it's Frostfall. I should collect some whatever and bring it to, what's his name? Maybe. Still, I love the idea, but you're right, might not work. So I've been given a quest. You are now tasked with guiding the soul of the Salkonudai hunter back to the other world. You must hold a lantern from here to your destination. Do not set it down even for a moment or the ancestor will be lost. Your destination is the burial cabin of Molai Guradan, sorry. It now lies under the tower. That's what you were saying before. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so for this one,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we got to go back to the Tel Vos dungeon. And I can't remember. I hope I did. I don't remember if I tied this one to another quest. A lot of these quests in this mod are like interconnected, where you gotta do a different one to be able to do this one or whatever. But I think this one, you can just go right there and do it. If you go back to the Tel Vos dungeon, basically in vanilla, there's like the flame atronach that's down there. And some lava and stuff. So that's been totally redone. And doing this quest actually opens up there's a pool of lava in there that essentially, when you do this quest, it kind of opens up the lower levels of the dungeon into Mulaguradan. so you can go explore that essentially. So this is my favorite part of the quest though, because there's a cinematic animation that I created for this one that I'm pretty proud of.
I keep looking around. I'm hoping the ghost will be following me or the spirit, but I'm not seeing him.
He's in the lantern, it's his spirit in there, so that's why when you got it equipped, you can hear those ghostly whispers.
Sorry, I hear my character grunt because a rat is attacking me. There we go. Is that the same sound as in the tombs?
It's based on that. I had to customize it a little bit. I think I lengthened it, maybe made it a little bit quieter, tried to make it so it wasn't super irritating. But yeah, it's essentially it's based on that, yeah.
Alright, I'm heading straight to Tel Vos. The dungeon, the entrance right there. We'll see. Merle says that the problem with the solution for a time-sensitive quest is clearly... Oh, there's a dude. I was wondering who that guy is. It's the leather person. Is clearly to make fast travel in Morrowind take months. Where is my entrance?
Yeah, there should be the dungeon entrance right by
There's the
Kwama mine.
Because I'm being haunted by voices and ghosts. Maybe I went too far.
I think it's on the west side of Tel Vos, if I'm not mistaken.
It's night. There it is. I know this game. I don't get lost in that game. Only noobs get lost. Alright. Here we go. The stream's been live for 2 hours and 40 minutes. Yeah, that sounds about right. We're close to the 3 hour.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no. It's just... Hang on, which way? There we go. There was the jail part. Oh, now he's angry with me, obviously. I remember you. You're the one who went into the vault.
Yes. Don't get away that easily.
Now I've completed my outfit. Alright, which way do I want to go?
Let's see. I'm a little bit behind, so I'm still seeing you.
I'm not moving for a little bit.
Alright, I'm catching up. I'm still seeing you just entering the jail. The guy's angry with you. So you wanna hop down the ramp whenever you get there, and then make a left turn when you first enter the dungeon area.
So I am in the cave dungeon area with the rats at the bottom.
Okay, so you go through that room, hang a left to go down the steps. There should be a flame atronach, and then there's a pit behind the flame atronach that you gotta hop into.
Dungeon.
Yes.
With lots of angry rats. I'm level 1. Are the enemies leveled in there?
In the dungeon itself?
Yeah.
I think they might just be rats.
Just rats.
Yeah.
What is that? Ah, just little pieces of rubble, I guess. Alright, we have a dead end. I see flame. Could that be a flame atronach? It is indeed.
Probably.
An angry flame atronach. And don't worry, it can't kill me. It's not like Kwama poison. Things I've learned today. And I was saying that you will need to come back for another stream because we've barely scratched the surface.
I know. It's pretty much just
agree.
been a Grazelands stream, essentially.
Yep.
Which is fine.
Yeah, we knew that was going to happen. I'm going to kill the NPCs so they don't go and float. That looks like a dead end. Am I supposed to go down there?
Yes, you gotta hop into the hole. Gotta have a leap of faith.
Oh, I don't like those. Let's restore collision so we do it properly. I like that the lava is neatly tucked away so I don't get burnt. There it is. Whoa! You fall for what seems like an eternity. The heat of the magma lessens and then disappears. You feel a new warmth, like someone encouraging hand on your shoulder as you float to a stop. And I need to get up there, probably. Can I, though? Yes. There it is. It went back to... This is basically the burial ground of this ancient Ashlander. I'm not. I don't think. I don't think I should pick up the lantern again. That feels wrong.
Yeah, I think it might just be an activator at this point. But I think, you know, if you did, I think you'd tick off some Ashlander spirits. So.
Yeah, but like I don't want to.
Yeah, that animation with the lantern was a lot of fun to make, so I had to animate the path in Blender and try to get it to look good in game. So doing this quest, it unlocks this area under Tel Vos, and then it actually unlocks a follow-up quest to this one. I think if you go and talk to Master Arion after this, or maybe there's a rumor it adds, I forget, but either way, you end up talking to Arion, and you get to come back down here and take care of a flame monarch that is causing trouble under the tower. So you get to kill him and get a unique artifact for that quest. So
am I looking at the symbol of the ancient Ashlander tribe?
Yes, yep, that's what that is. Yeah, so this is their burial grounds here. So essentially, the Ashlanders are a little bit annoyed with Arion for building his tower on top of their sacred burial grounds. So when you talk to Arion, he, of course, since he's very intelligent, he decides that he can use this to his advantage, and he's been trying to make peace with the Ashlanders around him, essentially, and so he realizes this is a way that he can appease them a little bit and give them access to these burial grounds. So that's kind of, but before that can happen, you got to help clear out the flame monarch that's down here.
That is a rather large dungeon you've built down there.
Yeah, this was actually originally I was really just playing around with the lava tile set that I had made for OAAB, and it just kind of kept growing and growing as I was playing with more of the assets, and then I realized that I'd probably just leave it the way it is and just release it in the mod. So it really doesn't have a lot of rhyme or reason to the layout. It was really just me playing around with seeing how things work, and then it ended up sticking.
That works. That is quite... Ventworm. Ventworm is supposed to be... Yeah, the Ventworms, at least in my install, don't have the graphic herbalism script.
So the Ventworms, because they've got their own scripts on them, they are still supposed to, whenever you harvest them, the Ventworm itself is supposed to disappear. But if that's not working, I might have to double check, because I basically hard coded the graphic herbalism behavior into them, which is similar to what I did for the exploding Kwama eggs. So I'll have to double check if that's working for the Ventworms.
It could be, me not installing properly. It's always a possibility. Wow, they also have the grey lichen here. I wonder if the Kwamas are going to take over.
Could be.
Okay, now which way did I come from? so good levitating. I mean, we have the sulfur vent and some path and some tunnels. Definitely something very fun to explore when you're not, you know, when you have not disabled collision and you're not in god mode. That's I'm spoiling it a little bit for myself here. All right. If I go back to the wise woman, will she have something to say?
Yeah, I think she'll close the quest out now whenever you go back to her, essentially. I think there's I think there might be some sort of a reward, but I believe actually after you returned the lantern, actually you gained a new either ability or power from the Ashlander spirits, essentially.
Nice. And I made it back to the burial chamber. Phew. How come the others don't have a lantern? They've lost it.
I suppose so.
And why is he holding somebody's hand?
Must have been somebody pretty special.
I'm guessing. What do you have? You have an amulet of levitating, useful. But yes, it must have been somebody very special. Okay, how do I get out? I need to levitate. Oh, that's why. Amulet of levitating. He wants to give me a hand, but I refused. I did. Oh, of course, I don't have collision.
Yeah, actually, I was planning on making a back entrance, or rather an exit from here, but I just never quite got around to it. So the amulet of levitating is the the solution thing.
That works. You could have gone, you know, Skyrim style and put a door that brings you right at the entrance.
Right.
I want to pull some of these levers to open a passage. Okay.
Yeah, so that's most of the coolest stuff in the Grazelands anyway. I know there's actually quite a bit more that's in there. There's a sideways tower you can get to from some of the secret passages that everything is kind of upside down in there. There's a few other secret little areas you can dig into. There's a miscellaneous quest where you can track down a scamp that's stealing enchanted trinkets and that sort of thing. So yeah, I definitely tried to pack as much content into the tower as I could.
Well, I mean, it is such a massive. Can't find my words. But anyway, like it really stands out, and it would be a shame that it's just a big tower.
Right.
So having things to do in, around, above, below it is good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun mod, so hopefully there'll be another update coming soon. We'll see how quickly I can get the other updates pulled together. Actually, I know we're at the 3-hour mark. I probably gotta hop off here pretty soon. I've got my family clamoring for my attention.
You haven't told them that Morrowind is more important than anything. It's not. It's not, but it's a close second. A very close second.
It really is.
It
is.
Melchior, thank you so much for the mods and for telling us about them as well. We'll definitely have to reconvene to look at the older mods. I think on the Nexus you have close to 80 different mods.
That sounds about right. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. Well, I guess I say that. Maybe I don't mean that. Depends on which one of my old mods we're looking at. But yeah, I would definitely be down for that.
Who knows? My secret hope is that looking at older mods of yours, you're going to be tempted. You're going to go, oh, I just have to make a new, better version of them.
Yeah, I know one of the big ones like that. I don't think I ever got around to making an update. I've been working on an update to my old Pearls Enhanced mod for a long time. I made updated models and stuff, but I've just never gotten around to finishing that up. But yeah, that is something I enjoy doing, is going back and kind of revising some of my old ones.
And what do you want to do with it? Because I added your pearls to shinies. So if you're
Yeah,
doing an update, I might have to think about an update as well.
it wasn't going to be a huge thing. I think it was mostly that I wasn't super happy with the models that were and textures that were using it. So I wanted to make some new versions of a few of those. I had a new texture that I designed or at least found for Lythonia that I was going to merge into that. So I don't think there was too much more that I was going to do with it. It was mostly a graphical update to it.
Good, because you update your mod and mine gets an update magically without me doing
Right.
anything. I like that.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's
that's
the best type of mod.
yeah, I really enjoy that. Right. You guys know where to find Melchior's mod on the Nexus. Are there any mods of yours that are on the Morrowind modding history but not on the Nexus?
There are a few of them. I know I've got some of my very old mods that I never actually officially released. Those are on modding history. I think there's like one or two others that maybe like an old house mod of mine. I think that I just never really felt was good enough, so I never ported it over to the Nexus. So there are a couple of them on modding history. Yeah.
Right. So go fish on the modding history if you're curious about those older mods.
Right.
All right, we're going to call it a night because family, food, and other needs. And next week, guys, on Thursday, there is an interview with Mort. So read that. Mort was already on stream a while back, so you can look on YouTube if you want to see that. And then on Sunday, there is actually no stream. Originally, I had planned to do a 12-hour stream for my birthday, but instead, I'm just dropping you and I'll go home and see my family. There we go. It's true. I have chosen my family over Morrowind.
Right.
It's a trend. That's what we do. Everybody have a really, really good night. Melchior, thank you once again. It was really cool. Looking forward to more discussions and more mods because, keep them coming.
Well, thanks for having me, Danae. It was a lot of fun.
You're very, very welcome. I'm going to send you guys to watch somebody who is playing Morrowind. Until then, bye everyone. Take care.